is the season.
Or
you both have done this
solstice.
before. You know
winter.
what season it is.
Season of winter solstice?
And that other thing.
Winter?
Okay, the other thing.
Snow, cold?
I'm kind of impressed you've managed to beat around the obvious picks for this one as well as you have, Alex.
Well, I mean, they're kind of... I don't know. Like, what are you alluding to, sir?
Krampus!
Hello and welcome, everyone. Charlie's favorite time of the year.
It really is.
It's fitting that Charlie's favorite time of the year involves a mythical creature who stuffs children into bags and takes them away for being bad.
It's definitely my favorite podcast episode of the year every year.
Yeah.
absolutely. It is unbridled spite.
Yeah, that's the accurate description of what fills me with joy.
Yeah. And so here we are, everyone. Welcome to 2019's Krampuscast, the last Krampuscast of this decade.
Yes.
Actually,
I didn't think of it
Indeed.
that way till just now, but yeah.
yeah. I mean, when did the podcast start, Charlie?
Oh,
Because I wasn't here for the beginning, so
fuck! I'm doing some math in my head.
excellent.
Over 5 years ago.
Yeah. So this will be the last of it. This is the if this was an anime, this was the first
Holy
season
shit!
chapter
We
done.
in theory have 5 of these things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, that's 5 bags, or, well, not 5 bags yet, but 4 bags full of bad, terrible things that deserve to be in the bag.
Yeah. So this is the end of a decade.
3 years
So-
ago? That doesn't sound right.
3? I don't know.
That doesn't.
Either way.
That doesn't track, but also means nothing.
Either way, it's a decade. It's changing. So we've got new fun stuff looking forward to next year. As far as who knows where the gaming industry will take us with their drama and their bullshit. It'll be fun. But yeah, dude, I can't believe it. Like when you think about it like that, like, oh man, it's gonna be a decade, and it'll be great because I have so many decade-related puns and jokes related to that I'm gonna give everybody as soon as the year changes. I'm gonna say it here now. The next time when we do a podcast in 2020, I'm gonna say that I haven't seen you since last decade.
Yep.
Podcast is canceled. We cannot go into this decade and let this happen.
This is the last podcast of...
Yeah, we're ending on a high note. Unbridled spite.
I'll tell you what, this will be the first one. All my terrible puns, throw them in the bag. There you go. For you,
All
Charlie.
right.
We have an order of how to do these things, Alex. We haven't gotten to the bagging yet.
It's my present to you, Charlie.
It's a wonderful present. It really is.
Yeah, so if you haven't tuned into our Krampuscast, correct me if I'm wrong, Charlie, but what we do is we go over the follies and the sins of this previous year in the gaming industry, and we decide if
this is somehow every year our most negative podcast, but also our most upbeatly negative podcast. It's a real problem.
You know why it's positive and negative? Because we accept this is shitty. We just know, and we're trying to have fun of a shitty situation.
Yeah, this is the fourth.
Well, there's a
Krampus.
sense of satisfaction too, I think. I mean, there's a deep sense of satisfaction with pointing things out, put him in the bag, let him get beaten by the Krampus. That's kind of deeply satisfying to me personally.
Yes,
I agree. Yeah. So, anyway, before we even move on, because I realized I didn't even introduce anybody.
No, yeah.
I am Alex, aka Mave Online. I'm joined here today with Charlie, aka Mordak Undivided, and our man repping from the East Coast this week?
Midwest.
Midwest? Oh, too far. Yeah, Midwest. Henry, aka Nomad Har, aka Kraken Zero.
A.K.A. the man from Oklahoma.
Yes, indeed.
But yeah, so here we are.
We sent him back
welcome
to the farm. It does actually exist, the farm.
In the very most literal sense possible.
What happens is he gets so fed up with the bullshit of the gaming industry that every year he has to disconnect and he goes to Oklahoma just to get away from it all. At least that's the story I've made up in my head.
That's pretty darn close to the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you this, like, my blood pressure literally goes down when I'm here.
And that's not just because he's now drinking corn syrup straight from the bottle.
There you go. But yeah, so we're here, and it's this year's Krampuscast, with the most wonderful time of the year.
It really is. It really is.
So, I think before we start putting things in sacks, maybe we should go over a little bit of our week.
We do have some weeks to get through, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, who wants to go first?
I will happily go first.
All right, let's roll.
Alright, so lots of Destiny stuff this week. I have GTFO's, I think it's open beta right now, installed on my computer, and I've logged into it and played a little bit, but not enough to talk about it in great detail. Like, that game could be something, and Henry should definitely check that nightmare out. Like, if you ever wondered, hey, if we took Left 4 Dead and gave it Destiny raid mechanics, what that video game would look like, that might be what that game is. I think when that game kind of fully catches on, it's got to be public beta right now. It's only reason I can think of we're not hearing more about it is the fact it's not fully released yet. And it's got some sharp edges, but at the same time, like, the idea to that thing is fundamentally cool, despite its incredibly dumb name.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, definitely, I mean, as has been I've made it very clear, it's like Left 4 Dead 2 remains one of my very favorite games. I still go on and play it.
Yeah.
Like, I will play it once or twice a month. Like, sometimes even a little more than that, because there's still a lot of people playing the game. It's crazy.
I think this game will be the next Left 4 Dead. I think it will have that, like, just stupid hardcore, not that they are stupid, like, stupidly hardcore crowd, that this becomes like the only thing they play for years. It has that DNA there where it's like, I'm looking at it going like, man, I kind of dig this thing. If it was a looter shooter, I'd be very into this thing. But speaking of looter shooters, I got around to doing the Saint 14 stuff in Destiny, and that shit is some of, like, it's 2-3 missions. They are hands down the best storytelling they've ever done in Destiny. And that's not knocking the rest of Destiny's storytelling. That's like, no, they are legitimately fantastic story missions. Like, they are some of the coolest moments in Destiny outside of raids, maybe including some raids even. Like, it is some of the most badass stuff ever in Destiny. And it's so
That's
cool.
awesome.
And the fact you have this goddamn Russian robot, like, giving you encouragement and saying ridiculous things while you do these missions is fantastic.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I've been itching to play some Destiny 2.
You can on Stadia.
Yeah, I know. And I think that's going to be a plan for
That's
this
what I
week.
recommend testing Stadia with, because people are actually playing it.
The only thing I don't have is I didn't bring a controller with me.
It works with mouse and keyboard.
Yeah, and I just have my laptop, which with the trackpad. Which
That's the truest Stadia experience.
I guess in a certain sense it is. Like, I mean, especially if you're considering even if you're playing on a phone. I mean, which I might also give it a try on my phone as well. But yeah,
I think you have to have the Stadia controller for it to work on your phone.
You mentioned that. That's true. Yes. But yeah, I can use. That's right. Last time you did mention that mouse and keyboard do work for PCs. Though,
yep.
So that is what I shall do.
Or keyboard and trackpad, as your situation may be.
Yeah. Be interesting because this keyboard is also has some issues too. But we'll see. We'll see.
The true Stadia experience being played on the worst possible equipment.
Yeah, I mean, all right. So this laptop, it was a top-of-the-line laptop 10 years ago. Like, this is literally a 2009 laptop.
Yeah.
And it was a gaming laptop, and I'm kind of glad it still works, and it actually still works fine. But yeah, this will be a test. This will be an interesting test.
Yeah. No, Sand 14 stuff's real good. The Dawning stuff is happening, which has given me time to watch stuff because that activity, or that this event is grindy. I personally always enjoy that once a year Destiny or Bungie makes the Destiny community a group of intergalactic space murderers bake cookies and deliver them, because that's what that event is. Which
that's amazing.
Makes no goddamn sense canonically, but hey, whatever.
That's pretty great.
But because I have a little bit more time, because I'm literally grinding out materials to bake cookies, yes, you heard that right, and then delivering them to wish dragons and other horrible monstrosities. I've had some time to actually watch some stuff, and I've watched most of the fourth season of The Expanse, and The Expanse is still one of the best TV shows on television. But more importantly, I have been watching The Witcher.
Ah.
It's real
so
good.
What are your thoughts?
I like it. So we'll kind of double back on this, I think, as kind of a broader topic during the actual Krampusing, or the bag stuffing, if you will, aspect of this podcast. But so I am one of those people that, like, as you work your way through the Witcher franchise, I actually like the video games less and less. Like, I'm a huge fan of the original PC version, of the original Witcher 1. It was only a PC game that was very kind of a heavy, traditional PC RPG. The second one is, I personally think, the best game in the franchise. I don't like it as much as the first one, because it's also the place where I think the combat started to get in the way of the rest of the game. And then the third one is the kind of giant, critically acclaimed, massively popular one that I get why people like it the most. The open worldy aspects to it, like, there's a lot to like in that game. That is also the game where I think the combat is the worst of all three of them, and the second-to-second gameplay of that game actively gets in the way of my enjoyment of it. But so to rewind a bunch, the original Witcher came out in the era of Windows Vista, to put things in perspective, and there was no proof we were going to get a Witcher 2 when you finished the original Witcher, so I went back and read all of the books The Witcher was based off of. And the Netflix show very much follows the books, and the books are very different from the game. Not in, like, fundamentally different ways, but the original Witcher book is a collection of short stories, and as best as I can tell, the majority of the episodes, or kind of the majority of the plots taken from for the first seasons of Netflix, is just that book. And I'm totally okay with that, because I think that's the best of the Witcher books. Like, so there's 5 Witcher books in total. The first one's kind of a collection of short stories, and by short I occasionally mean like 100-page short story kind of thing. Some of these are lengthy short stories kind of thing, but they're not full novels. And then the ones that come after it are some of the falling action or expanded concepts from the short stories. And they've done the Striga story from the first, which is one of my favorite kind of Witcher stories, because it defies kind of video gamey logic. Like, it's the most Witcher story of, like, yo, I could totally murder this monster and I could absolutely be in my rights, and that's what people would want to do. Or I can do the actually Witcher thing and lift the curse that's causing the Striga to happen, and do some investigatory work, and, like, why the fuck is there a Striga in the first place? And it's got some cool twists and turns of how that. I think they redid the story of the Striga some for the show, but I'm fine with that. The Striga is still the Striga, and, like, the design for the Striga in the show is top-notch too. Like, it's one of those things where they could have made it this, like, hulking zombie monster, and when it first shows up you think that, but in the book, part of the cool thing is the Striga is this, like, cat-like murder machine, and it totally is that in the show too.
That's cool.
Yeah, like, it is. The show is doing a really good job of nailing the monsters, both the literal monsters and the figurative monsters that the book kind of, like, the game does a good thing of, like, not all monsters look like monsters, blah, 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 blah. The book really kind of delved deep into that, and a lot of reviews for it have been like, why is there so much politics in this? And it's because the books were mostly political. Like, even when you get into the kind of Tolkien-style ongoing story novels of The Witcher, they still kind of have these very self-contained chapters that you could pull them out and make their own mini-books out of, that are like, they're like Geralt and so, where this is a political problem, and there is a narrative that links all of the chapters, like, all of the kind of sections together, but, like, they're very self-contained in their own ways. Like, I have never read a series of books that, like, were so designed to become video games, hypothetically. It's weird how, like, the guys, like, the original writers for these things' writing style is like, man, this is how you make a video game out of a book. Cool.
So, what do you think it is about it that kind of makes it adapt well to sort of a video game thought?
Well, so, like, the guy's writing style, like, even when he's not doing the short stories, like, say a book is made up of 5, like, sections or something. Each one of those sections is semi-self-contained. Like, it will revolve around one area, and will have a narrative that goes through all of it, and, like, there'll be, like, almost literal boss fights. Like, part of what makes the books cool is that, like, it's investigatory Witcher work culminating in dealing with a monster.
So it's kind of arc-based, you could say.
But that's
probably why the book would translate well to a TV series as well.
I think that's the thing, too. Like, the fact they're starting off with the short stories as opposed to diving right into the more kind of long-winded narrative aspects of the book. Like, it's weird because it's mild spoilers, I guess, but not really. What the show does right off the bat is tell Ciri, the Yennefer, and the kind of actual story of the Last Wish simultaneously. And that's a weird thing to do because they don't get to the events that set up the series plotline in the TV show until 3 episodes in, and that's when you realize, or maybe 4 episodes actually even, like, you realize there are 3 simultaneous plot lines in different time periods happening simultaneously in this show. Like, if you had to pick a, like, what is the current timeline, I think it's technically series, but that then gives the Geralt story freedom to bounce around and be like, yo, it's Geralt dealing with the Striga. Yo, it's Geralt lifting that curse on that dude, Beauty and the Beast style. Yo, it's Geralt getting his name, like the nickname, the Butcher of Blevin or something like that. Like, it makes the fact that he's kind of just suddenly randomly showing up places feel more excusable, and also then helps the Yennefer plotline, which people have been livid about. And again, like, it's all the video games take place after, like, depending on how you read the books, upwards of, like, 50 years of things happening. And in that, like, as part, like, and there's stuff that even predates the books some, like, the whole Yennefer story they're doing, like, Yennefer's, like, 100 some odd years old before her and Geralt kind of finally cross paths kind of thing. Like, the thing the game don't really dive into that much is, like, I want to say by the time, like, the game kicks off, Geralt's, like, 200 or 300 years old.
That makes sense.
Old. Like, he has been doing this Witcher thing for a while. Like, in the books, if I remember correctly, he's, like, close to 100 years old at a minimum. I think when Yennefer shows up, she's, like, 300 or 400 years old. Mages live for long-ass times, turns out. As do Witchers. Like, anything magical in this universe that's a human-esque has a extended lifespan up to dangerous levels. Like, it's hinted at, but not explicitly said, Witchers can't die of old age. They just eventually get slow and get killed by something. Like, that's how Witchers die. Like, they eventually just mess up and get killed by something. So, yeah. Kind of the same deal with mages. But again, like, if you're used to just The Witcher in the video game context, you don't have the whole story of Yennefer's origins, which is she is born like this misshapen, horrific hunchback who, through horrific magic and sacrifice, becomes the attractive woman we know from the game, kind of thing. Like, it's weird because a lot of people are reacting negatively to, like, hey, here's the story of where all the things you like came from. We didn't ask for this. Tough. It existed before the games you like. No, why can't this be the video games? Because it's the books?
Yeah.
The books don't exist. The books were all written before even the first video game was made. yeah, I'm digging the show. Jen, my wife, is not such a big fan of Henry Cavill, or Carvel, how the fuck you pronounce his name? Cavill, thank you, for being Geralt, and I get it, but also he's playing Geralt really well. Like, he is maybe too attracted to be Geralt, but at the same time, it's like, no, he's doing the job. He's doing the role really well. He is the right level of gruff.
He is actually a good actor. I mean, unlike what you might think from seeing him in, as Superman, he's actually a pretty solid actor.
No, and he's playing kind of the gruff, emotional deadpan stuff of Geralt up really well. That's not actually emotion deadpan, like emotionless deadpanness. Like, it's mostly and I'm assuming. I'm not sure how much of the combat he's doing himself and how much of it's kind of stunt work, but like, if he's even doing half of it, he's doing a fantastic job in the fight choreography, which is what you really care about in a show like this.
Well, I mean, we've seen him in other action movies do some combat. He was in Mission Impossible.
Yeah, he was great in that. Like, it's that same level of just really well executed stuff. Like, they have nailed some of the more important parts of Geralt in this show that I think people weren't expecting. Like, the combat style is great. The kind of the subtlety of how Geralt's magics work. Like, in the video game, you're very familiar. You're very aware of kind of how much magic Geralt has. But in the books and by proxy the TV show, Geralt's magic is subtle. He's not a mage. He has kind of like better than trick magic, but it's not like super useful magic. Like, he can push stuff and charm people and light stuff on fire, which is way more than most people can do, but it's garbage level compared to anyone with actual magical talents.
So is that more like the book then?
Well, the game and the book are that way. The issue is in the game, the magic is so upfront, and in the book and the TV show as a result, it's kind of subtle. Like, you have to look for him doing little signs and stuff with his hand, even though he's doing magic. Like, the most obvious one he did was, like, sealing a crypt at one point and just air blasting something. And then, like, in both instances, like, oh, okay, yeah, but, like, there's a couple points where he's doing kind of subtle Witcher magic where it's like, oh, right, you're not a mage. You don't, like, throw fireballs. You have to actually use these goddamn swords with a lot of frequency. There's a Batman-esque amount of prep time that goes into all of your work. Where it's like, okay, cool, gotta bring these weapons, gotta bring these oils. Again, that exists through all of the games. The first of the Witcher games relied so heavily on the prep time. Like, that is a fundamental mechanic of that game that I get why it wasn't as important moving forward, but, like, it's what made the first game my favorite as a result. Because, like, you went into combat and the game was like, okay, cool, do you have the 300 books you need to prep for this fight? No? Go buy them right now. Just do it. Do it. You will die if you don't know what type of oil it's weak against, what type of bombs it's susceptible to, and like which of your 3 potions you need to blend together to get the most advantage. Like, yeah, it's like, yes, you can always go with Tawny Owl for the regeneration abilities, or for the added health regeneration. Yeah, it's a good pick, but like, did you know that this thing causes blindness? So you might want Cat. And then you're going to want to turn his brain into elixirs too. So, like, I've dug the show. I think the show is a great adaptation of the books. If you're looking for it to be an adaptation of the video games, you're going to be disappointed because the events of the video games haven't happened yet. And more importantly, the author of this franchise, who is notoriously kind of annoyed with parts of the video game, big fan of the TV show, it turns out.
Yeah, that's not surprising in a certain sense, like you said, because it's about his books rather than the games. So.
I've been impressed. Like, it's, if you are looking to fill that Game of Thrones sized hole in your heart that this year left in you, maybe go check this out. It's kind of that, like, it's more fantasy than Game of Thrones is, but kind of in the same genre where it's most people just live normal shitty lives and then, like, great people wander through. And I will also throw down the caveat, like, if you're not willing to deal with the politics presented in this franchise, which are heavy on racism and stuff, and commentary on that, don't watch this. Like, that's not the point of this franchise is, like, to talk about that stuff. Like, it is, you have this badass hero, The Witcher, that, like, technically is ostracized by society because he's a goddamn freak, and most people, despite the fact he rolls up and like saves them from a dragon or something terrible, don't recognize him as human all that frequently. They're like, yeah, you're slightly different looking, so fuck you. Remember that time we murdered all those elves for being elves? Yeah, good times.
Jeez.
Yep.
Yeah, indeed. But that's what I've been up to. I can recommend The Witcher. I'm enjoying it. If you're mad Triss Marigold's hair isn't red, fuck off. If you're mad that Yennefer spends the first, 4 episodes, doing her origin story doesn't hot Yennefer from the video games from the jump, fuck off as well.
Yep.
I think the show is good. I enjoy the show. Who's next?
Muy bueno. I can go next.
Cool.
So, remember last week I said I was going to go to a mystery dinner theater thing?
Yes, how did that go?
Anniversary?
You appear to have not been murdered.
So, I did not get murdered. That's a good sign.
Yes.
So, it was not what we expected it was going to be.
Did you end up at a sex party?
No.
Okay, that's a step better. That's better than it could have been.
No. So we went to the event. We got there. They did a nice little intro, and it was, it's very campy, that New York style, mystery thing, but...
No, a mystery murder dinner party was campy.
You know what I mean. So, they start to go on about how this, he's a rough-edged, PI who got fired from his old firm, and now he's going solo. With cute assistant and all that. And this lady walks in, the customer, I guess the client, she works at an orphanage, and they can't put on their Christmas pageant because somebody stole the baby Jesus.
Oh, no.
And just like you would think it would be, it was a super hardcore Christian production mystery dinner theater thing.
Whoa, that must have been interesting.
It gets real good.
How Christian are we talking?
I'll get to
You're right. I have to let this unfold. I have to save my questions for the end.
The mystery of this.
Fair enough.
So he goes on. So they go and track it down to this exporter named Mr. Chang, who had a really turned up Asian accent.
Okay, just straight racist. Got it.
Kinda. That's a little
Was the guy playing him at least Asian or no?
Yeah, he was.
He was. That doesn't make it necessarily better, but...
No, but he's like, Mr. Chang, #1 importer. First, 15% off first purchase.
Yeah, that's not great either.
Yeah, I was like, So they go through this whole thing, and at the end, he finds, the stolen artifact, who turns out, well, I won't ruin the mystery in case anybody wants to go see it.
No, you should, because I'm not going to this.
Okay, so it turns out Mr. Chang bought it from one of the little girls at the orphanage who just got there recently, kind of thing. And so they get it back, and I guess in the adventure, the PI, finds Jesus literally and figuratively, and he carried around a little bottle of alcohol.
Where was Jesus literally, out of curiosity?
It was a plastic, thing for a what do they call it? The manger display thing?
Okay.
Nativity scene, yeah.
So he puts it...
I thought you were saying some dude dressed as Jesus showed up for this. It was like, you found me, hard-boiled P.I. McGregor.
No. That would have been a funny twist.
Yeah.
And so he finds it, he puts it in the manger, and the whole thing lights up. Okay, that's cool. And he carried around a flask because he was the drunkie, PI or whatever. And then proceeded to pour out the alcohol near the manger, but it looked like he was pouring out for his homies in front of Jesus. Because he was kneeling down, and he poured out the quote-unquote alcohol. So it's is he pouring one out for Jesus? I don't know what's going on.
Okay, so when you mentioned this, I thought you were going to a murder mystery party, meaning, a bunch of people wander around a house or a venue or something trying to solve a crime.
See, that's what I thought.
You apparently were in attendance of a play.
Can I tell you that's what I thought?
Okay.
I think, I think you kind of the way you kind of described what you thought it was going to be like, yeah.
Is this a passion play? Like, is this what a passion play is now?
Let me finish.
Fair enough. I thought we were done. My bad. The PI poured one out for his homies and found Jesus.
Yeah,
what more is there left in a play at this point?
And it was like happy endings and things like that. And then the narrator, who I guess is like the pastor of this church, because it was at like one of those storefront church locations. That's where the event was. But see,
everything you're saying makes the story better.
No. So last year I went to I don't know if you guys ever watched the YouTube channel All Def Digital. They have comedians who do a bunch of different stuff. A couple of those comedians were touring in Portland, and they did an event at a church. So I was like, figured, okay, well, they just rent out the church halls and things like that for plays and stuff. That's just standard. Like, that's just a thing. So the narrator comes out. He tells us, like, hey, you know, my buddy used to invite me to church, and I used to be like, nah, I don't want to go. And proceeded to become like a whole, we're not asking you to convert or join the church today, but if you want me to pray with you, let's do that. And he like walks up and down the tables for a bit, like, and nobody is raising their hand.
No one volunteered to be healed at their table.
Got real fucking awkward real quick.
Yeah.
What are the chances the entire audience thought they were there for Murder Mystery Party?
I will tell you right now, there's a good chunk of the audience that, like, just kind of, like, put their, like, because he did, like, a prayer and asked us to put our heads down, and I kind of just, like, oh, okay, I'm just going to put my head down for a second, not make any eye contact. Man, he refused to make eye contact with me because this whole time this thing is going on, she doesn't want to laugh, so she's just looking straight down. She's looking straight down. She tells me after the fact, by the way, that, like, she's like, I couldn't look at you, and every time I almost looked at you, I had to sip some coffee, because if I did, I would have laughed. But
what
we're
a
just
hero.
kind of there. Yeah. But
yeah.
So she proceeds to pretty much just we kind of just sat there, and and he spent like maybe a good 5 or 6 minutes literally like asking people who want someone to pray with them.
Stalking the tables, looking to convert.
Yeah, like I think somebody finally raised their hand, and I guess he didn't want to do like a whole room thing, so he was like, "We're gonna send one of the sisters to go pray with you," and they headed over there, and so they saved the cheesecake for the end of the show, so we got our cheesecake, and then we promptly fucking left.
Oh god, that sounds both amazing and terrible. Like,
oh my gosh.
The fact you didn't know what it was going in, and this was all a surprise. Like, if you'd gone in knowing what you were in store for, and it was just bad, that would have been one thing. The fact you're like, we're going to solve a murder, and the murder was, where did your Christianity go? That makes it better.
That's exactly what it was.
Man, why are we doing the Krampuscast this week? There are so many good names for the podcast in that story.
Yeah, no, it's just So the thing was, it was the mysterious export. That's like the mystery they were solving, and it turns out the mysterious export was baby Jesus.
6 pound baby Jesus.
So I mean, it sounds like they kind of misled you on the description of this.
I would have asked for my money back.
Well, it was 3 canned goods or $5. So
I mean, that's but I mean, on the description of what it is and what it was going to be like, did they not say it was basically a sermon?
Nope.
That is, you know what? That's really
exactly
sneaky.
what I was thinking.
That's tactics.
I mean, it's like, you know what? If it is, I mean, you know what? A lot of people, if you're honest with them, I think they wouldn't really care. I mean, it's not like somebody's going to necessarily actively avoid it just because it's, you know, has a Christian message. There's lots of Christians in America and in the world.
This podcast is not necessarily anti-Christian.
Yeah. I mean, but just saying, it's
directly, but
I think it's incredibly sort of sketchy and bad that they weren't just honest with that part of it. I mean, I don't know. I think that's kind of low. That's really low. That's like what a con artist would do.
There's definitely some flim-flam aspect to the story.
Yeah, there's definitely some sketch because it didn't mention anything about Jesus on there.
Well, I'm just picturing Alex showing up with like a microphone, like a magnifying glass, and like a Sherlock Holmes hat, being like, "We're gonna solve the Christmas
cap,
murder."
you know?
Yeah, like, ready to solve this murder, and then it being like, "Take your seats, eat some shitty food, have us yell at you for an hour and a half," and it being like, "But I'm here to solve a murder, and not the murder of where my evening went."
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was.
So
there was definitely a murder, and it was definitely your poor hours.
I mean, they did a good job on the production.
Oh yeah,
don't get me wrong.
I'm sure.
It's a hell
I'm
of
sure.
a story.
Yes.
But the fact that it he's like, I'm no choir boy, but I guess I'll take the case. And then he, goes.
Is Oregon full of hell houses? Is that what I'm learning? Like, can I go to a hell house if I go to Oregon?
This sounds very much like that. It's like trick kids into thinking it's this cool Halloween thing, but actually, no, it's a weird,
as someone who grew up in the Northeast, I've never been to a hell house, like in a truly devotedly hell house area, and I've always wanted to go to one because I hear they are ridiculous nightmares.
Yeah, but not in the sense that you want for Halloween.
Oh, no, as an adult, I will find it hilarious. As a kid, I would probably find it traumatizing.
Yeah.
As an adult, I'll probably find it anti-Semitic too. I hear that creeps in a lot, but
yeah.
But that was our.
Oh, that's
mystery
fantastic.
On the plus side, the spaghetti they served for our meal was really fucking good. And
hey, good.
I almost want to email them back and say, "Hey, what kind of sauce did you guys use?" That sauce is really
sauce, Alex. They use
really
the Lord's sauce.
If they tell me I can get some more.
This is what you should definitely do. If you send them a message, make sure your subject line completely misleads them, just like they misled you. Have it kind of hint at, I want to hear more about what you had to say, or
what's in that sauce.
Yeah, I once was lost, now I'm found. And when I say found, I mean I found the best spaghetti sauce. Where did you guys get that?
Yeah, yes. See, you should mislead them like they misled you. It's only fair.
But yeah, so that was our mystery dinner theater, which turned into a big old Jesus recruitment drive. Is the only way to describe it.
Yep. Welcome to evangelism.
Yeah. So that was over at around 8:30 last night. So Mandy and I are like, okay, we're not ending our anniversary on this note. Because that was supposed to be our anniversary thing.
Yeah.
So she was like, is this your way of getting out of planning future anniversaries?
I forgot that aspect to it, man.
Yeah. So Mandy and I got a little dressed up and went to this.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
That's some tactics there, Alex. Do a job badly enough, and they'll ever ask you to do that job again. Wow. That's some swinging for the fences incompetence.
I explained to her this could be our hate version of a hate date.
You have to go to this every year now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So we're like, okay, let's go watch the Star Wars movie. Because,
cool.
So Mandy and I have been together for 4 years, and we officially got together the day The Force Awakens came out 4 years ago. So I thought it was fitting. Hey, let's just go watch a Star Wars movie after this. Let's cleanse our palate, if you will.
Let's go watch Space Jesus instead of Christmas Jesus.
Let's watch Space Jesus instead of just Earth Jesus. So
I'm not sure who would be angry about that sentence. Star Wars fans or Jesus-y people.
Yeah, so we went to go watch. Yeah, we went to go watch Rise of Skywalker. And you know what? I think it's probably the best movie of the new trilogy.
Oh,
cool. Okay,
hands down.
I really liked not Force Awakens, The Last Jedi. So that actually fills me with mild hope.
Yeah, I liked The Force Awakens better than Last Jedi, but now, I mean, honestly, I've heard some good things about the new one, so now definitely I really want to see it.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this last movie very much fan service for sure.
I have heard that. Yeah, I've heard
but not over the top annoying fan service. It works with the story. It was really well done.
Cool.
It was really well done, and I'm glad that one of my theories came true. So.
I looked up the spoilers for all this stuff for this movie because I had to know. I'm like, I'm not sure I'm gonna see it, but I didn't know if I was right about this stuff. Neat. Okay,
Yep.
Don't care.
Do not spoil anything for me.
No spoilers. It's too fresh.
Yeah.
But I will say this. I don't know if you've watched the trailers, Henry.
I've kind of avoided watching the trailers too because a lot of times they give away too much. So I watched the very first trailer that has almost nothing in it, and that's about it. So so that's the thing. It's like I found that especially with movies I'm really anticipating, I have to avoid the trailers because there's always a chance that they're just going to be like, here's an important plot point. Haha.
Yeah. Well, there's one scene that people kind of like, well, that doesn't make any fucking sense. That was in the trailers. And they do a really good job of actually explaining why they did what they did.
Oh, it's almost in context, things can make sense when they don't make sense in a trailer.
Absolutely.
It's almost like if you have the rest of the movie around as opposed to certain snippets pulled out to build hype, they make more sense.
Yeah. So I won't go into any specifics, even though it's in the trailer. But they explain why this is done a certain way.
Sure.
And out of context, it doesn't make sense. But in context, it makes perfect sense. So I thought that was great. And yeah, overall, it was a really enjoyable movie. I usually count that by the fact that Mandy stayed awake for the whole thing as well. Because she tends to fall asleep in some movies. But she genuinely stayed awake for the whole thing, and it was a great film. I know one of the complaints people have said is that it maybe feels too rushed, but I think it was just right.
Sure.
So
maybe I'll actually see this now.
Yeah, I recommend it. So yeah, like I said, I wasn't a huge fan of Last Jedi. I feel like there was a whole chunk of the movie you could remove. And
I love that movie because it's middle fingers up against all the fans. That movie is the biggest fuck you to kind of the Star Wars must be X, Y, and Z fan base aspects. I love that movie more for how angry it made kind of quote Star Wars purists.
Well, it's for me, it seemed like so much of it was based on superfluous nonsense that didn't really need to be in there, plus nonsensical decision making.
Sure, but you could say that about all the Star Wars movies.
But it's just, I don't know. I can usually tell when something's been written backwards, especially when it's written backwards poorly. You kind of know what I mean by that, right?
Yeah.
Because it works well for certain genres and certain types of movies, and in general, it's just not a bad thing. But yeah, when you write backwards from a plot point that you need to reach, but then you don't seem to play it in forward, you don't kind of look it back over it, in forward, in the correct order, and then to make sure that actually still makes sense. I mean, that's what I see a lot, and that's what I kind of saw with The Last Jedi. It seemed like, we wrote this backwards. Oh yeah, this should lead to that. Oh yeah, this should cause this, and then they didn't bother looking over the way it would look if they actually played it in the actual order.
Sure.
And it just seems like huge jumps in bad logic and terrible decision making.
I would argue that's the kind of issue.
Why did this thing even need to happen, and why? I don't know. It's. I think they were trying to get the feel of, to me, and not to go too far in this, but some of the feel of Empire Strikes Back, where Empire Strikes Back is kind of like everything goes wrong, kind of. You know what I mean?
I was just gonna say that, where I think all of the middle Star Wars movies have the same problem, where they're the middle Star Wars movie. You have to have an ending that sets up the final movie, so you kind of
but there's better ways of doing it. I mean, there's a reason why Empire Strikes Back is still kind of hailed as, critically hailed as just still a good movie.
Well,
it's
George
just
Lucas
well written.
Didn't direct it, but yeah.
Yeah, he didn't direct it either, and that also made it superior. But yeah, it was, and I just don't feel like they did it with The Last Jedi. But not to go into that. But
yeah, we won't go too far into it. I will say The Last Jedi was my least favorite of those.
We finally figured out what happens if you hit something in hyperspace. That's all I ever needed in a movie,
which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
I actually liked that. That was fun.
You also, and this is kind of where we differ when it comes to sci-fi. I love that movie because it has that part where they just basically show Yeah, there's a shit ton of war profiteering in this whole thing. Like, the majority of people don't really care about the Empire or the Rebellion or the Republic or whatever because it doesn't affect them.
There's a whole host of people who just kind of live and they don't think about either one.
Arguably, most people are in that category.
Or where they happen to live, even. So
it's like The Mandalorian, where it's like, none of this shit matters. Why? This is stories about people.
Well, that's why I think, like, Rogue One was probably one of the best new movies they've made so far.
Yeah.
I think Rogue One was fucking spectacular.
Yep. It's also why I like Solo, where it's like you got this kind of look at, this is what life is actually like under this stuff. And being part of the rebellion of the Empire won't matter to most people. It's like, oh, you have to be stormtroopers? Okay. Oh, if you're a Republic Guard? Okay. How's that not a stormtrooper? It's different, okay? Is it?
Yeah, and that's the one part of Solo I did enjoy, though. I think it's a horrible movie, awful movie, but
I
enjoyed the fact that, like you said, it was kind of like, well, this is how most people live that aren't involved in one or the other. They just kind of have a life that doesn't have much to do with either. So, but I am, but now I'm more excited than ever to watch the new Star Wars movie. So.
Yeah. No, it's a good movie, I have to say. I definitely enjoyed it, and it's a good movie. That's all I gotta say.
Cool.
So, and let's see. So the house hunt has continued, and we got an offer accepted on the house.
Ooh!
Oh, awesome! Congratulations!
Yeah, thank you.
Good for you.
So, Monday, I get to go out and do the inspection part with the home inspector. Get that all squared away, and it was interesting because the house we were gonna put a bid on, came off it was technically pending and then came off because the people who were trying to put a bid only had a work visa but weren't actual like residents or citizens, so they technically can't apply for the loan to get the house.
Oh yeah, that's true. The loan.
Yeah.
As an issue, the mortgage.
Because it's not. They have to be a resident or a citizen. You can't have a work visa and buy a home. I believe. At least that's my.
Well, no, you can buy a home. You just can't get wouldn't be able to get a bank to lend to you a mortgage for it. So that's the issue. I mean, they could. There's not like, I don't think that there's a law, but yeah.
No, because you can probably buy cash.
Because people buy homes like that don't live here. It's just it's not bought through a mortgage. So
so we it came back off from pending back to for sale. So we went to go look at it, and we're like, yep, no, this is the house. This is it.
Nice.
And it's nice. 3 bedrooms, backyard, nice front yard, attached garage. Nice little setup there.
Oh, cool. Cool.
Yeah. So I will have my own game / streaming room in the house, which will be nice. So, so we put in our offer on Friday, and then Saturday I heard back from my realtor in the morning, and she said 2 other people have put bids. We're going to hit up the seller and let them know you've got like a conventional loan set up, and you've already been pre-approved, got all that, and really kind of push get you in there. And right around noon, she called us and said they accepted our offer.
Awesome.
So they do have a backup person just in case we back out of it, but pending obviously any home loans or any home inspection stuff, we're pretty set.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I'm stoked, man. And I checked out the internet, and I get gigabit internet for $65 a month.
Oh, that's amazing. That's cheap for that, too.
It's amazing what competition will do with pricing.
Hey. Actual competition, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Fuck you, LA Internet.
Yeah.
So, it's great. So, further into the next maybe 30 to 50 or 60 days or whatever, I may miss a podcast or two because I will be in the process of getting everything moved in. So, but that being said, I might be a homeowner in the next couple weeks.
Nice.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
yeah, I really hope the inspection goes well too.
Yeah, I hope so. We got a really cool inspector setup. They're pretty solid. They run a nonprofit as well, so that's one of the things that made me decide to pick them is because they do charity work as well. So
nice.
But yes, that's it for me. Did I miss it? No. Did I? I think no, that was it. That's everything. So that was my week. I believe, Henry, you're up now, sir.
Yes, so, as I mentioned earlier, I am indeed in Oklahoma. I am visiting my parents. And this is kind of a yearly thing. I've been, I like to visit. I like to go and visit
I think we did the Krampuscast last year with you in Oklahoma, yeah.
Absolutely, and that was me testing out to make sure that, my parents' internet, which they get cellular internet here, essentially. And so their router is a router/modem, and it's a cellular modem.
It's got a Nokia N-Gage plugged into it or something.
No, I mean it's just a
bad joke.
But yeah, it's a cellular modem and router, and so and I'm directly connected actually. Instead of using the Wi-Fi on my laptop, I have a cable running to it right now, a very long cable that I happen to have, and it's running all the way to it. So. That's what I'm doing, and yeah, it seems to be fine once again. And yeah, I mean, their internet's good enough. I mean, it's fine, especially for what they need it for, what they would be using it for. I mean, like, my dad prefers to use it for, like, weather a lot. But, yeah, that's because, yeah, as I've mentioned before, I am from a farming and ranching family, and so I've already gone out to help, because every time I come back here, I mean, I grew up doing this, and so yeah, I'll go out and help my dad like deal with cattle, because it's always easier with a second person there. I mean, there's a lot of different things that make it reasons why it's a lot easier just to have another person there to help you deal with the cattle. And while I was growing up, generally we kept all steers, and steers are pretty easy. They're not very scary. They're pretty easy going. I mean, there's no reason to be afraid of steers. I mean, if they just kind of go around. They're easy to corral and deal with. You can just kind of like wave your arms, and they'll just kind of go over wherever you want them to. And so that's mainly what I grew up doing. But now, just within the past 5 years, like my dad started like keeping heifers and actually having cows and like bulls as well, a couple of bulls as well. And bulls are kind of scary, actually. Like,
yeah.
They're way bigger and more aggressive, whereas steers just aren't. But yeah, bulls, like, they're 2,000 pounds of, I don't care what you think. They won't move around. Like, you can't just, like, whereas with steers, you can just kind of, like I said, wave your arms or whatever, and you go, hey, go this way, and they'll just kind of go. A bull won't. Bull just kind of does what it wants to do. You aren't really making it do anything, and so feeding them can be kind of tricky, especially if you're feeding them like not just with, you're typically using some feed this time of the year because it's winter in addition to hay, so that they get more protein and stuff. And so putting out feed for them gets a little scary because they're like, I want food, and they'll kind of push you out of the way because they're 2,000 pounds of.
It's almost
I don't
like
care.
Cows are a nightmare.
Yeah, but steers are fine, and as well as cows are fine, female, cows, they're fine, but yeah, it's the bulls that are just kind of intimidating. So, and that's, even my dad kind of feels that way. I mean, he keeps them, and he's like, yeah, they're kind of intimidating, because, yeah, they don't care what you think. They really super don't care.
They're just there in their leather jackets, making their own cigarettes, leaning on fence posts.
Yeah. That's kind of a new thing. I mean, I didn't grow up dealing with bulls, so that's definitely kind of new to me. But yeah, so yep, I am, and a lot of people don't expect that of me, when they meet me or see me, and they're like, "Oh, you grew up on a farm and ranch, you know how to work cattle?" And it's like, Yep, unlike that person over there who's wearing a cowboy hat and cowboy boots, who's probably never been in a field, this dude, dressed up like a punk rocker with piercings, grew up on a farm and ranch. So
you're just a walking Hard Times article occasionally, aren't you?
Yeah. But yeah, I enjoyed out here, and even in helping out, helping my dad out. It's nice. But yeah, and I like visiting with my family, and that's always fun. Um, but also, yeah, it is. I being here literally brings my blood pressure down because I am less stressed. My parents don't stress me out, and that's something I'm pretty grateful for. My parents are both pretty chill people.
While recording this podcast, it will balance out those stress levels and bring them back up to normal.
Balance out what? Oh. But yeah, my parents are pretty cool, and they're very chill, and it's relaxing when I'm out here. And the farm, it's quieter out here too because my parents, they don't even live in town. They live like 3 miles out of the closer town, the town that's like less than like 500 people. But yeah, I mean, so it's very quiet out here, very relaxed, and we just have our rescue dogs. Well, I mean, I say rescue dogs as in we literally rescued them ourselves. At least some of them that we have. I've mentioned before that people kind of drive out to the countryside and dump their pets that they don't want, and if we see them, we take them in. So we're in an unofficial rescue center. But yeah, and it's cool. I like animals. So other than that, games. I started playing King of Fighters All-Star this week. It's a phone game. I don't really play a lot of mobile games. Like, I haven't even played Pokemon Go. Not even once. And
probably a smart move, in all honesty, given what we've learned about Niantic in the last year, but yeah.
Yep. But yeah, I've been playing King of Fighters All-Star, and it is... Well, I'm a big King of Fighters fan. I have been for a very long time. Ever since the first time I saw one and played one that was on a Neo Geo machine. Yeah, I love the series. I've been playing it pretty consistently, and the phone game, it's fun. It's not strictly a fighting game, it's a beat 'em up. So the way the most of the missions work, you can play it fighting game style, like King of Fighters fighting game style. There is a mode for that, but most of it is played like a beat 'em up, like a well, I mean, there's the Streets of Rage 4 coming out. I mean, and the River City Girls, if those types of beat 'em up games. And so it's that style, but you have the kind of special moves that the characters would have. And so the way its sort of gacha system is, like the sort of random system is like whenever you try to use, you're summoning fighters, and so you kind of like Pokemon, you're collecting fighters and you level them up, and they even have a skill tree that you can work through for each of them. But yeah, it is random for what you get. There's no... So, and even if you're going into one of the special random summons, there's no guarantee that you'll get one of the special things. It's just slightly higher that you might get, like, for example, the Christmas versions of some of the characters that are going right now. And I'm kind of annoyed right now because, alright, so I have certain characters I always play. Like, certain characters on teams, and it just happens that they happen to be usually high tier in every version of the King of Fighters, but specifically Leona. She's my favorite character. I kick butt with her, but I can't get her. I can't seem to get her. And I'm not willing to pay a bunch of money to get like hundreds of summon tickets.
But Henry, what if you just bought it?
But you can't just buy her either. No. If I could, that would be tempting, but it's just like, I want Leona. Give me Leona. Stop giving me another freaking Chang.
Francis Frog.
Yeah. So yeah, I want Leona. And the thing is, you just like other kind of pay other freemium style games, you just by playing the game, you just earn more credits that allow you to summon more fighters, and summon you can summon like 10 at a time, but I just haven't gotten my favorite character yet. And I'm like, come on, give me my favorite character, please. She doesn't have any lower chance of being summoned than anything else. It just, I seem to be... But there are a lot of characters, because they consider characters from different years as separate characters, as well as kind of these, like, for example, a Mai Shiranui from 96 is separate from the 1997 version. So you'll get kind of near versions of the same character as well. So that's why I have a certain amount of repeats in a certain sense, because yeah, it's not necessarily a repeat, it's just the same character from a different year. But I'm really wanting to get Leona. I'm like, come on, just give me my favorite character, please, so I can put her in my team that I've been using. I have one special character that got summoned. I do have a version of Yuri Sakazaki, who is a baseball version, and she's in a baseball uniform, which is cute, and that's cool. But
I have that one too.
I think a lot of people get that when they log in, so I think that's a common thing. But but I've been enjoying the game. I like side-scrolling beat 'em ups in general. Like, I am a fan of those. I mean,
you were playing that MOBA for a while. That was a side scroller.
Yeah, I played a MOBA that was side scroller.
I don't remember.
Well, I played a MMORPG that was Dungeon Fighter Online.
Not what I'm thinking of, but
yeah, I played Dungeon Fighter Online, which is a straight up like side scrolling beat 'em up 2D MOBA. But you're talking about Awesomecast as a MOBA.
That sounds right, yeah.
But that's not really beat 'em up. It's a side scrolling, but it's not like Streets of Rage or something like that, or
sure.
But yeah, I've been enjoying the game, and the storyline is fun. Like, there's a storyline that you play through. Like, there's kind of a story they've created for each year. There again, several years of the franchise, and there's kind of an overarching storyline that you're kind of within a system. You're actually like within a computer system. There's like kind of it's cool, and I like some of the new characters. I like the artwork. The artwork's nice. It's kind of general, like kind of anime, super anime artwork, but it's nice. And I like that they're using this sort of animated, semi-animated, kind of flash animated sort of characters. So I mean, they move and they're kind of breathing and talking, and so that's nice. I mean, it's some of the little touches that I enjoy the artwork of games that I play. I mean, I appreciate it and enjoy it. So, but that's been fun. And so, but yeah, that's because that was easy for me to play. For instance, when I was sitting in the airport, and so I can just sit in the airport and play that game. It was kind of easy, kind of nice. And then even here, because this laptop isn't necessarily a gaming laptop I've used for gaming in a long time. Though I will be for Stadia. I will try it for Stadia, but I've been playing King of Fighters All-Star while I've been here as well. So yeah, but I haven't really been playing any games outside of that. I've been, kind of in a certain sense, getting ready to spend roughly a week here in Oklahoma, and so yeah. But yeah, over the next week I will set up Stadia and try that out and see how that works out. I'm really curious how well it works. Yeah, and I definitely will kind of write some notes and report back on that. Because this is kind of the scenario that we've been wondering about, this limited internet scenario. And so I definitely have that here. So I'll have to see how that works out. I have my doubts, but we'll see. I'll definitely be writing at a lower resolution, but it's not a big deal since I'm running off of a laptop anyways. So, but yeah, that was pretty much my week. But I also definitely been looking forward to the Krampuscast. Is everyone ready?
Oh yeah.
Is it time?
It's time, boys.
Ho, 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 oh no. It's time for the infamous bagging, the Krampuscast. Those who this is the first Krampuscast of, this is our yearly kind of roundup before we do our Game of the Year stuff of all of the bullshit that happened in gaming in the last year, give or take kind of some stuff, given that we can't catch everything, obviously. And this is a very personal list. This episode's not for everyone. We fully understand that. See you next week or the week after for our Game of the Year stuff. Those who are choosing to stay, please enjoy. It's going to be a nightmare. This is petty, nitpicky, pedantic, and mostly it's designed to keep us from getting into this stuff in Game of the Year so we can focus on just the games. Like, one of these episodes has a long rant. This is all long rants. It's all very personal stuff, and if you found us to be too political or whatever kind of in that spectrum in the past, this is probably not the episode for you, because we kind of let
Yeah.
it all hang out, because in the true spirit of Christmas, meaning Krampus, meaning the only good part of Christmas, we choose to probably berate and beat these things with a Switch. Not a video game Switch, a part of a tree we go out and cut down, and then throw a bag over and beat it mercilessly till we feel better about ourselves. Who's got the first one for this year?
You know what? I'll throw it out there.
Okay.
And this is definitely a bigger topic. I'm saving another one for a little bit later, but for now,
there's no saving. We're just gonna kind of go around and keep throwing ones in the bag, for lack of a better phrase. We're gonna discuss them, and then we'll move on once we're bored of talking about it.
Yeah. All right. So I'll go ahead and mention. I want to talk about video game CEOs in general, and
Sure.
an executive level. So
This feels like the year of that, and so this is the year of many things. Unfortunately, like
it's the year of that being finally called out.
Yeah,
And
like this. It felt.
See, that's the part of it that I actually like. This is the year of it being called out. So I know exactly who should go into the bag. So I'll throw out a name to begin with. Randy Pitchford.
Indeed.
Oh, yes.
So, shall we count his sins?
Sure, and I feel bad because we kind of fucked up the reporting on this one originally because it was so goddamn weird, but, this is a guy who managed to make Borderlands 3 all about him in a weird way, and not because he was trying to, but because you found yourself being like, do I want to support a guy who may or may not have lost a drive, that may or may not have contained child porn, and it's on a podcast defending that it's not child porn, but it's the weirdest thing where it's not worse, but being like, no, I was trying to figure out how this cam artist does her squirting trick because it can't possibly be real. I respect the artistry of it. That's the start of this bullshit.
And it's just the weird legal stuff that's gone on.
Yeah, that all came out because of the lawsuit, but it's you went from hey, Randy Pitchford's being sued in this very weird lawsuit to what the fuck is up with Randy Pitchford to man, why do they keep putting Randy Pitchford out in front of Borderlands 3?
Yeah.
Stop it.
But yeah, it's and also you remember the kind of battle with the Borderlands voice actor.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a number of sins here, and Pitchford, as the rightfully so, when you're the executive, especially the CEO of a company, this is your responsibility. You can't act like, oh well, it's just no, that's on you. But I mean, there are so many specific things that are literally him and dumb things he's done and said, and it's just wow, Pitchford, you are garbage. Stop buying his games, please.
But also at the same time, this is I think the real crux of the issue. The people at Gearbox publish and make some decent games. The issue is now do you want to give Randy Pitchford money indirectly? And that's kind of the CEO thing of this year, where a lot of good games came out this year.
Absolutely.
Then had uncomfortable relations. Let's bounce around some, because we got to talk about Activision as part of this, and EA to a lesser extent, and Blizzard kind of falls under this category some. But we're gonna I still have not played Call of Duty Modern Warfare as much as I want to, kind of thing. I've dabbled with it as best I can, but I don't own a copy of it because I don't want to buy it.
Yes. That's the thing. It's it's like you said. There's some complexity to this because there's a lot of devs who work themselves to the bone to create this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
These game developers. It's they didn't ask for their executives to be trash.
I was prepared to be super excited about Borderlands.
Yeah, and it's just and that's the difficult part. And when you are one of the ones in the trenches, it's not like you have any real say in who your CEO is. And especially, in some of these cases, you don't necessarily know a history, whereas, some of the stuff wasn't public. You didn't know publicly that this CEO was garbage. You only found that once you were in the company, and that's makes it more difficult. It's like, a lot of these, executive level, you just don't have a say in it. I mean, even especially, when you're within the companies, like your CEO starts doing horrible stuff, like both on his own and with the direction of the company. It's like, what can you do? So yeah, I definitely have a lot of empathy for the devs working tirelessly at something they're passionate about, and then the dark triad executives just kind of shitting all over their hard work. So yeah, so Pitchford is just, we'll have him on the list first. Go in the bag. Who next? I mean, as far as other CEO, yeah, Activision CEO.
Bobby Kotick, Bobby boy.
How does Kotick?
Is it Kotick? I don't know.
I don't know.
The douchebag who runs Activision.
Fair enough, as he will now be known.
Yeah. So let's talk about. I guess I don't know if this happened close to the end of last year and it bled into the beginning of this year.
Well, the whole record year followed by massive layoffs. That was this year. I had to look that one up because I couldn't quite tell the timeline on it.
Upwards of over 800.
Yeah. Well, I think 800 just at Blizzard alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. So they reported record profits
in 2018. Yeah,
not just record, kind of sales, record profits. That means over
we made
cost.
all that money.
Yeah.
Yep. But it was not projected profits. So in order to meet their bottom line and hit their projected numbers, they decided to lay off 800 employees, ranging from customer service reps, things like that, like lower tier jobs. Never mind the fact that maybe as an executive, CEO, your decision making is what led to you not making your projected numbers. Let's blame the rest of the staff on it.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Yeah. So between that assholery and Call of Duty's monetization scheme and how they basically not even Call of Duty Mobile. I'm strictly talking about not the newest Call of Duty, which is Modern Warfare, but the one before, which was what was the one before?
I don't know.
Blackout or
Black Ops or no?
Black Ops 3.
Whatever. Yeah. So the rampant and insane monetization on a AAA priced game.
Mm-hmm.
So between them adding loot boxes and actual
they took them out for this year's.
Well, they finally took them out, but they for the longest time had not only loot boxes, but they had limited time stuff you could get, and it was pay to win. On top of the fact that you already paid full price for a AAA title game.
Yeah. Yep.
So
that's the thing. It's gross. It's obvious, cash grabs, and this comes down to the leadership wanting this.
Yeah.
It wasn't the devs asking for this. The devs weren't like, "Hey, we should put loot boxes in our thing," because no, it's not the devs. It's absolutely not the devs. It's the leadership asking for this stuff.
Mm-hmm. So between adding the loot boxes and the pay-to-win firewall or the paywall in the game, they also added season passes with more items that were paid to unlock and all that. So I think that whole Call of Duty before the modern one, Modern Warfare, was kind of a fucking shit show.
Yep.
So there's that. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. Did I miss something? I'm sure he's done more shitty things here.
Yeah. Let's see. This year, we're talking about mainly just this year. That's
this year, yeah. There is also
so it's the problem with this episode is keeping it kind of like we can go back in time. No, that's we did that last year.
Yeah.
So there's the Call of Duty mobile pay scheme, which it makes a little bit more sense considering it is a mobile game. So obviously monetization is just kind of built into that, but the way they lock down certain things is super predatory. I think one of the things they talked about recently was they had a special event crate where it was a 1 in 6 chance, or no, 1 in 10 chance that you would unlock a special skin for a gun, and a special skin for the character. And then they had a bunch of other items like icons and other things. And they had like 10 or 12 people test this out. And they said it was a 1 in 10 chance, and every time you open a box, your chances got better for the other ones. But 9 in 10 of the boxes you opened were the skin for the gun and for the character. Always. For 12 people who did it. It was always the same order, and it was always the same items at the very last 2 loot boxes. So essentially, you were paying to get through 8 boxes just so you can get to the last 2, which actually had the stuff that people wanted. So,
yeah,
there was that. So, yeah. Bobby, or not Bobby, the douchebag from Activision. Yeah. I think, did we cover all of it? I'm sure there's more.
There is, but also at the sake of moving through, we have to keep going a little bit.
Yeah, so let's throw them in the bag.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, okay. Who can I throw one in there now?
Yep, you're up.
All right. Well, it's only fitting I'm going to throw in this one, but since we're on the topic of Activision, let's go on the other part and talk about Blizzard. Oh man, they built up quite a list. Like they stayed on top this year with really being shitty. Let's see. A couple things that stand out.
If
obviously,
you were to give out an award, which we might do for a Game of the Year thing, for just like shittiest thing in gaming of the year, this might be the winner. But that's why this episode exists.
I think so. I'm inclined to agree with you on this one.
And we're not saying one individual thing of this is the shittiest, but by their powers combined, they become Blizzard's PR disaster 2019, man.
Yeah,
I think I may have one other competitor that might be worse, but we'll see. So let's see. With Blizzard, obviously we have the huge, Blitzchung situation that happened this year. And it's crazy that feels like it was so long ago, but it was literally a few months ago.
Yeah.
It was not that long ago.
Yeah.
So the Blitzchung controversy. You have obviously the firing of 800 employees from their staff, which, by the way, apparently a couple of months later, they started hiring for those same positions they laid people off for. And a lot of the former Blizzard employees were like, "Are you fucking shitting me? You guys literally laid off this position because you said there was no need for it, but now you're hiring back for it." So, yeah, a lot of bullshit on that one, for sure.
This is why we need unions, but go ahead.
There's also the Blizzard fucking over esports prize pool at BlizzCon this year.
Oh, yes.
I don't think we covered this that much.
I don't think I heard about this before now.
Not at length, so please.
So I'll just kind of give you a quick recap. So Blizzard this year decided to sell 2 items. Fireworks thing that would shoot up either the Alliance of the Horde logo or a transmogrifier that would transform you into different raid bosses from the games and things like that that you could pick up. So they were each $10, and they said that I want to make sure I get the wording properly here. They said that 25%, I believe it was, of the profits from that would go into the prize pool for was it the WoW Arena Finals or whatever, the esports part for WoW. So because they had the Mythic Invitational, the Mythic Dungeon Invitational, and they had the arena matches. So essentially, you bought a toy, you would be contributing to that prize pool. On top of that, their wording said that Blizzard would cover up to, I think it was $300,000 for the prize pool.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, they're supposed to be matching up to a certain amount, yes. Yeah.
So they're supposed to be matching up to a certain amount. So, long story short, here we go. So it was implied contribution of $500,000, guaranteeing that minimum sum. But after the sales surpassed that quite a bit.
Yeah.
So the sales, I believe, got up to, let's see, $2.64 million is what they raised. So $2.6 million is what they raised from all the toys. And So they essentially decided to not only pull their $500,000 base contribution, and they kept all the profits from the toys, and so they only gave $500,000 from the sales of the toys. So essentially, Blizzard fans completely covered the pool.
Yep.
For the esports tournament. They never did a match. They never did anything like that. So, yeah. That was...
Like I said, Blizzard has had a year.
Yeah. And, I mean, and the thing is like, and some of them have happened this year, some of the old Blizzard guard have been slowly leaving, like, there's almost nobody left at this point. Of the people,
it does make you wonder, kind of thing. Like this is kind of as part of the kind of Blizzard topic. I want to bring up one of the things that actually made my list, which was the fucking Blizzard community. Like, if you are fucking standing for Blizzard as a company, please take a second to actually look and see how many of the people you think of as like iconic Blizzard are still actually there. Like,
it's like Jeff Kaplan is kind of the last.
Yeah.
I mean, he's kind of the last of the people that you associate
and I get
with
it. They made Overwatch and WoW and these games you have a lot of feelings for, but WoW has been in a weird spot for years now, kind of thing. Like I know it's in a good spot right now, Alex, but like following this expansion over this year with you has been, man, they do not know what their fan base likes.
Yeah.
I didn't even touch on the actual game designs of shit they're doing.
Yeah.
Obviously, we had last year's controversy with. I was just mainly covering industry news, but
we
can talk about the game.
This is all part of it, kind of thing. Like it's the. I think when you throw Blizzard at the sack, when you try and start wrestling the sack over Blizzard's bloated head at this point, you have to talk about all of it. Like it's the what has Blizzard done good this year in video games?
Well, the announcements were the only thing that people were kind of hyped about.
Sure, like the biggest thing is WoW Classic, a thing that they got out there.
Even then, that's dying. And it feels like it is because people are like, "Well, there's not much else to do." What did you expect?
Well, on top of that, like it's this kind of passive aggressive. They're like, "You don't actually want WoW Classic," and people are like, "Just fucking give it to us," and they're like, "No, fine, we'll give it to you." Meh.
Yep.
Yeah, so let's see. Between the Azerite system being complete fucking garbage, them getting rid of tier sets, they released a pretty lackluster raid.
Hearthstone's been a mess.
Hearthstone's been a real mess, even aside from Blitzchung.
Beyond the Blitzchung, beyond the competitive aspects of it, Hearthstone has been a mess.
Oh yeah,
people have just stopped playing because the thing is, like, it's reached a point where the ceiling, or like, there's a certain level of money you have to put in just to be able to compete in that game to get the right amount of cards.
The initial investment is now too high.
Is now too high for what's available.
Yeah.
So there's that. You have Heroes of the Storm that got completely fucked over by Blizzard.
Oh yeah, they killed it. They've effectively killed that game.
Did that happen this year? I think it did.
It kind of happened. I guess. Now I'm kind of.
I think it was because it was supposed to be leading up to BlizzCon.
Yeah.
Or something. Let me see.
Yeah.
Heroes of the Storm shuts.
Yeah.
Scaling down.
Yeah, that was this year. Year.
Okay, so I mean, they have been. There was things that happened to it last year too, but I guess
like at the end of last year, though, like there was rumors and stuff, but the official announcement was this year.
Yeah,
we're like so true. Goddamn close.
Yep,
almost a year ago they talked about it. So,
yep.
But so there's that whole thing, and now it's pretty much in this what they call maintenance mode esque thing in a way.
It exists.
Yep.
Yeah. So between that and the thing is, though, they also didn't even inform any of the professional teams. They were just
no, yeah, they didn't tell anybody.
Yeah. Hi guys.
We've got good news and bad news. The good news is we no longer have to support Heroes of the Storm. The bad news is all of you are out of jobs.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yeah, it's Blizzard. Welcome to the sack. Take your beatings.
Yep.
We could go on and on this one. I think too. It's like the BlizzCon we're sorry speech was like.
Oh my god.
That's my big takeaway from this. Like at the end of all of this, you have a chance to actually apologize, and you somehow enrage people like me even more. Like previously, I'm like, I fuck you, Blizzard, but whatever. And then you do this where it's like, we're sorry. But also, we're going to leverage the fact that we, in certain markets, love to play up how progressive we are, but then completely in other markets remove that because we don't want to be consistent, because that becomes problematic.
Well, the big thing that happened to me that was just like a super thumb in my eye was when this happened at BlizzCon. So the very next day at BlizzCon, I think it was the next day, there's the Hearthstone Grand Champion. Basically went up and used her speech to talk about gender equality, which was neither talking about the game and it was political. Both things that literally he said the day before were not allowed.
Yep. Oh yeah, no, the entire fucking situation's fucked.
And they even asked the question to allow her to do that. So they actively supported it and encouraged it. So he literally the next day they showed that they are complete and total hypocrites. Just ridiculous level of hypocrisy. It's like that's just completely disingenuous. I mean, they could have at least waited 2 days to be complete hypocrites, but nope, barely even a day. They just showed themselves to be complete and utter hypocrites when it came to the whole, oh well, we want people only talking about the game and definitely nothing about politics.
But look at this easy win we can rack up if we let it happen. Oh ho ho,
guys, you're just mad Soldier 76 is gay, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't care less.
Yeah.
Okay.
But not gay in China, of course.
He's not gay enough, in my opinion, but that's beyond the point.
Yeah. So,
don't
worry, though. It's just, they're building up those brownie points.
Yeah.
They can save up for later. They cash in the Goodwill chips, which, do you mind if I segue that into the next one?
Sure.
What's the next one?
E3!
Oh, yeah.
Yummy.
Do you remember a news article or a press talking about how they want to manipulate the public by building up these charity goodwill chips they can cash in on controversy?
I think this is like E3 and the ESA as a group. Like we can't talk one without the other because there's two parts. There's E3 2019, which as far as we can all tell was a fucking hellscape.
Yep.
And then on top of that, you have the ESA's gaming journalist privacy information leak, that whole internal memo about like hashing chips of goodwill to kind of like when they fuck up in the future cash in. You have the idea like let's appeal to influencers, which isn't bad, but also is kind of like what's the fucking point of E3 at this point if you're gonna just go PAX on us?
So
well, this is also the same group that it's one of those ones where also like the ESA got out there was publicly like we're okay with loot boxes. Like this has not been a good year for the ESA across the board.
Go ahead, sorry.
It's not that anyone did anything bad to them. They kept doing it to themselves. We have this link on our website that gets you access to a shit ton of journalists' private information. Oh, how private? Like emails? Like phone numbers and home addresses. Oh, that could be a problem. Yes, it could.
Yep.
So
how do we address this? We don't even publicly acknowledge it. Do we get called the fuck out on it?
Yep.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah. So this is the comparison I'd like to make for this. The ESA is to gamers as the NCAA is to professional college athletes.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're looking out for the companies and the sports, and they don't give a shit about the players.
In the worst way possible, the episode of South Park where Cartman wants to buy, is it a basketball team or a high school or college basketball team? I don't remember which one it is. And the ongoing metaphor is it's basically slavery. Like,
yep.
It kind of rings true here, too.
Yep.
So, it's fitting that, that's the comparison I want to make, because obviously you can buy your support for the ESA, especially considering they came out 4 loot boxes.
Mm-hmm.
And this bullshit strategy about planting chits of goodwill when you fuck up. No, you should do goodwill because it's a good thing to do, not because you can cash in on it later.
I love the idea of an organization like knowing they're gonna fuck up so hard again in the future. They're like, we need to start doing cashing some goodwill. Like, so when we do fuck up and we can be like, hey, remember that time we weren't assholes?
You guys seem to forget this is the internet. The internet doesn't forget shit. You can't just cash in a goodwill chit and do that. Unless you're Blizzard and you release a bunch of new fancy looking games, then people can seem to forget about Blitzchung.
Or not actually release them, but like show a trailer of games that don't
Diablo
even look...
4! It's Diablo 4!
Which isn't going to be coming out for probably another 3 years.
At a minimum.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Overwatch 2, which could conceivably be out sooner, but it's going to be a while.
Yeah.
So...
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
No, go ahead, please.
So, yeah, between all these fun little things here, nice to know that it contributed to all this bullshit is ESA. So I would say ESA goes in the bag. And of course E3 with the lackluster kind of shows they've been putting together since they've opened up to the public. Like, and maybe it sounds a bit elitist. I will say that now. Having been to E3, both as public person and as like part of industry for certain event things, it does come off like I'm saying it in an elitist way. But I will tell you right now,
the fact that you have legitimate gaming kind of news outlets out there talking about whether or not it's worth covering E3 the way they have previously. Like, I know I reference them a bunch because they're kind of how I take a litmus test on this one. Giant Bomb, like not the biggest, but also definitely not the smallest kind of outlet of gaming news out there right now.
Yeah.
Has had ongoing conversations about whether or not, like, they keep covering E3 the way they do. Like, it's one of those ones where it's like, do we just send someone down now for like 2 or 3 days and completely scrap what we've been doing because you're getting like almost everything they're doing except the interview portions of their stuff you can kind of do from anywhere. Like, hell, we've kind of copied their format once or twice, which is just talking over the press conferences because, you don't have to be there to watch that anymore. It's very easy to cover that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm inclined to agree with you on that.
Yeah, so, I agree.
But yeah, other than that, and just the way things are handled now, and now that they want to go in the direction of influencers and all this bullshit, yeah, let's just throw them in the fucking bag now.
Yep.
All right, Henry, have you contributed one?
So it is my turn.
Charlie hasn't
yet. It is my turn, and we're actually going to take what you just said, Alex, and transition to a weirder topic because I think I want to throw in influencers I want to call out now, and this is the year where Copa finally was like, maybe we care about this actually.
Yeah.
Like, this is the year of Twitch getting in trouble, for someone just realizing they can restream soccer matches on Twitch and make money off of it. Like, I know it sounds like we're envious, and we are. We fucking wish we were one of the big... We wish we were influencers, sure. It sounds like a lot of fun in some ways, but holy shit, this is the same year that Dr. Disrespect should have gone to jail, maybe?
Yep. I mean, what he did was actually California law.
Yeah, illegal.
Yeah, so there's...
Guys shouldn't have a Twitch channel anymore, let alone be in talks to maybe have a TV show. Like, it's...
Yeah.
This is... If you've ever wondered, like, how bullshit the whole influencer thing is, look no further than this year. Like, this is the year we finally learned that we may not have the Chinese version of the clout system, but we totally fucking do. And it's bullshit. And the moment something actually starts kind of leveraging against that, it's amazing to see kind of how fast that stuff falls. Google, and by proxy, YouTube's handling of the whole Copa just throwing it back at people aspect of things, that's fucked. The fact that Twitch is facing like a several $1 million lawsuit over like not something else. It's not the soccer thing. No, there's the soccer thing. There's other lawsuits coming out.
Them. Oh yeah, that's right. They have other lawsuits ongoing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because of shitty behavior. Like, I think this is the year we talked about that woman that was going around using a bot to just find any channel that covered her being an asshole. Like,
Yeah.
That's some bullshit.
Oh,
Yep.
she's multiple controversy. That's Alinity.
Yeah.
She's also the one that spit vodka in the face of her cat.
Sure.
And didn't she like throw the cat too at some point or something?
She punched that dog. Someone punched a dog on stream too, if I remember
Which
correctly.
is also illegal.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
animal
Well-
cruelty is properly illegal as well, so...
So the dog person situation, I think they actually got punished.
Yeah.
The shit around Alinity is that she's got connections at Twitch, so
Mhm.
she hasn't even faced a single suspension on her
No,
account
no.
from the whole thing.
She hasn't even gotten a strike, yeah.
Yeah. On top of the fact that like she's upset that they called her a quote unquote Twitch thought. But there's the the thing where she spit at her cat, which I believe was vodka. She threw
Isn't
it.
vodka
and then she
like,
does
super
these
toxic for cats?
Yes.
probably.
Yeah.
And not to
alcohol's
mention-
really not good for cats.
Yeah. And not to mention she like does these like weird yoga poses and lets her dog sniff her crotch on stream. I don't know if you guys saw that one recently.
We're getting too in the weeds. This is just kind of the concept of influencers and how they're negatively impacting gaming at this point.
That's
Yes.
what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
all this stuff happens, and they double down on this, and they're just like, "Well, what can you do? Our hands are tied."
Yeah.
But if you say something that isn't even quote unquote the N word, but something that kind of maybe sounded like it, close that fucking channel down if you're
Yeah.
not a big name. That was the thing. Because the guy said something like cherry or some sort of weird dumb word, and they thought it was the N word, and they proceeded to shut down his channel permanently.
Yeah.
But hey, if you're connected with Twitch, not a problem.
Yep. Yeah, and this is it's a thing, like they've been they're very purposely vague in a lot of their, bylaws and, regulations or whatever, rules for, whenever you sign up to Twitch.
Yep.
And they've obviously been super revealed over many years of playing favorites and being totally inconsistent in enforcement of literally everything.
Absolutely.
And that definitely applies to, the influencers that are either in good with them or just making them tons of money. And while other people, that don't have necessarily as much of a platform, find themselves in trouble all the time. And have to really watch what they do.
The fact that you have influencers out there attacking, and I have to throw kind of the air quotation on it because it's journalism with a bit of an italicized slant to it. Like, gaming journalism is what it is. It's very opinion based because it's how it has to work. There's no facts.
Yeah, it's
reviewing the
similar
video
to
game
movie
kind of thing.
journalism.
Yeah, but the fact that we have influencers out there actively attacking the established game journalism sites and game journalists because they had the audacity to kind of point out that they were wrong. Like, fuck, is this the year of the Nintendo stealing controversy where that guy just straight up jacked someone else's YouTube channel stuff? Did that happen this year?
I don't remember, to be honest.
Yeah, it's hard to keep track of all of it this year.
All this bullshit just seems to blend in now. Like,
It's just, I think your original point is absolutely worth repeating. Is that the influencers, among other things, they're definitely poisoning, or at least even revealing and making things worse, the video game community and the relationships between journalists, developers, and gamers. And it's just kind of, it's being revealed more than ever this year, I think. It's not like it hasn't been there, it's just now it's more visible.
Well, it's one of those things where I think it's like there's more at stake all of a sudden. Like, the line... I'm going to sound dramatic. It's like the lines of this shit are starting to get drawn more and more. Where it's like, in the Destiny community, fuck Datto. He needs to shut the fuck up about kind of problems with the video game at this point. Like, it's the... I get it, you're trying to make money off a video game, and I respect that you're successfully doing that. But at the same time, stop making our game worse because you can't churn out 8 hours of content a day, 7 days a week. It's a video game. Most of us are quite happy. Stop whipping a bunch of people up into a frenzy. Like, I stopped going to the Destiny subreddit because it's just this toxic nightmare of people squealing and whining about increasingly minute, detailed things where it's like, man, do none of you do anything but, like, do you even play the game anymore? Because the amount of YouTubers you are all following that complain about this exact same thing that affects them, but not the general public that plays this game. Do you have time to play the game anymore, dude?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I guess it's the problem of, to a certain extent, people, they go all in on this stuff. Like they put a lot of emotional investment into a game, and somehow because of that think that they are owed a certain amount of thing in return.
And I think this is the year where a lot of people have kind of, the phrase I've always used is the gaming YouTube relationship has always existed kind of as like on a razor's edge, because whether we'd like to admit to it or not, based on how the rules are written and kind of how certain rulings have come down, Let's Play channels and all that stuff only exists because publishers and developers think it's fine.
Yes.
If you start pissing off on that relationship enough, it's gonna change, and once enough of it changes, it's all gonna go away, kind of thing. And I'm not saying like that's a bad thing at this point. Like, God knows, less Fortnite channels out there wouldn't be the worst thing, but at the same time, you're doing nothing except making YouTube videos, and I get, love you put time and effort into that, but also, I've seen some of these YouTube videos, not high effort.
Some of them aren't. I mean, some of them are, you can tell that a lot of editing and a lot of post-production work went into it, as well as pre-production, but some of them are just like, this is fast cuts of me yelling about a thing.
Or worse, it's just like, I have some stock footage and I'm talking over it. I'm not doing that's like it's just background footage. It's basically like a 15-minute podcast, except if you put up a 15-minute podcast once a day, you look like a fucking psycho.
Yeah,
that's some manifesto territory.
Yeah, I mean, in a certain sense, it's like just this. The time we spend on this podcast is more than enough kind of hours talking about video games that I need,
and it's problematic enough as it is. Like,
yeah,
the internet does not need another group of angry dudes that are angry about video games. Like, it just doesn't. But here we are doing this, and we thank you for listening. But at the same time, fuck us. We're part of the problem.
Yeah.
Does that mean we're going in the bag?
We are. I have us on here as tradition every year. We're on the list.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Climbing in the bag.
Yeah. Climbing in the bag early this year.
Yeah.
It's roomy in here because there's space for other things. Let's move on to the next one because I can kind of wax meanderingly on this one for a extent. I got another one that we can burn through a couple of my quick ones quick if we want.
Great.
THQ Nordic for that whole 8chan debacle.
Oh,
that's right.
THQ Nordic, I want to like you. I love that you're making Darksiders games again. But why the fuck did you do a Q&A on 8chan?
Who? Like, and it wasn't
How did this happen?
I mean, it wasn't like one person's bad judgment. This had to pass through many different people and many layers.
An entire PR department was like, fine, this is fine.
This is great. This is an amazing idea. This is such a
minimum. No one thought to Google what the fuck is 8chan.
Yeah.
I mean, so I can definitely understand if somebody doesn't know what 8chan is. I can understand that.
There's no way of actually knowing what 8chan
had to have suggested it in the first place, or like, there had to be somebody familiar with it.
And that's what I'm getting at. Like, in the most innocent world, someone from 8chan goes like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if you did a Q&A on this platform? And everyone at the company goes, that sounds great, and never looks up what the fuck 8chan is. I don't think that's what happened. But, like, again, the fact that you cannot get to 8chan from Google should have been your early warning on this one.
Yeah,
it's not hard to get to 8chan.
It's a dark web thing.
It's gray web at the worst, really. Like, it's not like there's no special browser required to reach it like other parts of the dark
but it's not normal.
Yeah, you have to type in the word 8chan into your browser kind of thing.
But yeah, it is a and the thing is, like I said, so multiple people had to sign off on this and say this is a good idea that I either A, did not research, or B, know what it is, but I'm not really.
At its most innocent, it is a baffling fuck up.
Gross incompetence.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's at its most innocent. It's gross incompetence.
Yeah. And none of us believe it's at that's most innocent kind of thing. Like,
no. I think they honestly thought that it would be a good get us in the news, or controversies. We want a controversy too, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is the controversy you want, because I mean, all right. So there's the controversy of a controversy that could surround I don't know. I'm trying to think of a controversy that would be kind of light. It's like, oh, we're only going to offer this product in 2 colors, or controversy that's about a website that includes awful. Like, just, I don't think you want...
I think qualifies as a light controversy.
Okay, yes. That's not as much of that's a lighter controversy. THQ Nordic, I don't think you wanted the level of 8chan controversy. That was bad idea, because I think that's honestly what a few of them thought. To be like I said, I agree. I don't think it was entirely innocent. I think there are some people thinking, "Oh yeah, let's make some controversy." You didn't want this. You didn't want this. But wow. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyone got one they want to say, or I can throw another one in the bet. I can offer another one up for our vulture
I have
dissection.
One that's a bigger one, and I'd rather save it for later.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Let's do it now. Fuck it. We've done a nice, soft, fluffy one. Let's do another big one.
All right. Well, let's talk about the journey that has been Fallout 76 in Bethesda.
I think this is the first item we've ever had that has shown up in this prominent a manner on 2 Krampuscasts, because we definitely talked about it last year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, boy, because it got better. It got better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it makes better. I mean, it turned into a bigger dumpster fire.
To Alex's point, if you'd asked me at the end of last year's Krampuscast, hey, do you think they're going to find a way to make Fallout 76 more worthy of being shit on? I'd been like, maybe, but probably not. And no, Todd Howard found a way.
Yeah. Well done.
Bastard.
Spark of genius.
Now that we're done being vague, I believe we're talking about the fact that those helmets grew mold, the paid subscriptions, the fact the game keeps fucking breaking. This is a game that inspired organic hunting of the rich inside of itself.
It's like, the last update broke people's armor and weapons and would reduce your defense if you reloaded your weapon.
Yeah, there was that.
Well, I mean, that's just I just mentioned that because that's the recent thing. But it's like,
yeah.
Oh, it's such an ongoing dumpster fire. Just like, here's a little more kindling. Yep. Kindling made out of rotten eggs mixed with orange peels.
Yeah. Not to mention, there was also I think this happened close to the end of last year, but they released the Fallout 76 rum. Nuka-Cola Dark, or whatever they called it, or whatever. But it was a whole controversy behind that because people pre-ordered it, thinking it was going to be a glass bottle with the rum in it. And it turns out they have a regular glass bottle encased in a 3D printed rocket ship that goes over it that you can't remove without breaking it, potentially. And the way it's designed makes the rum spill in all fucking directions when you get it out. And the rum is garbage.
Oh, yes, of course it is. Of course it is.
So, between adding a yearly subscription to a plan on a game that was a full title release game, that wasn't originally a subscription kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's fucking weird. There's the store.
Fallout First. Yeah.
Do they have their loot boxes? Do they have loot boxes in that game? I don't know.
No, but they still have that Atom currency. I don't think they ever technically have loot boxes.
Well, they have the store currency, and all that.
Yeah. But also Fallout First.
Yeah. They also, for Fallout First, which, by the way, I love the fact that they didn't buy the website properly. So somebody else bought the website and completely shit on it. Fucking great.
That is worthy of applause.
That is.
Well played.
It's just worthy of applause for their absolute fucking incompetence.
Yeah.
Which is reflected in their game, so it's no surprise they fucked that up.
Yeah.
Gosh, what else? I think it's just a continual kind of gouging of their people for all that. Even the Fallout First stuff.
To make you feel better, the Fallout First website is still fucked.
Oh yeah. It's
well, they just don't give a shit.
And it's just and I feel bad for the people who are trying so hard, on the role playing servers, especially that they're really, really trying to have fun with this game, and it's like Bethesda doesn't want them to have fun with the game. They're like, oh, people are actually trying to have fun with our broken toy. Let's break it harder.
Not on our watch.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And I just want to touch on the organic hunting of the rich thing that Charlie brought up. So when you buy Fallout First, you get a special icon next to your name to show that you're a Fallout First subscriber, which is basically put a target on you. And so everyone else in the game specifically goes out of their way to kill you.
Yep.
Which is just so perfect.
I can't think of another game that is essentially inspired, again, not because people are going to be dicks, but out of anger and frustration, literal in-game manhunts.
And not just manhunts, it's like we're seeing a proletariat bourgeoisie manhunt.
We're literally seeing Hunting of the Rich in a video game.
That's there's a certain poetic justice in that, but
yeah.
Yeah, Fallout 76.
Keep on trucking.
Yes, indeed. So, you want to make another prediction about Fallout 76? You think, what for next year? Think they're going to make it worse?
I think if we're still talking about Fallout 76 in 2020, which I believe we will be, because I believe there's a straight-up single-player mode coming, actually single-player mode. And remember, we still don't have NPCs in that game.
Yep.
What if we somehow live in a world we spend 2 years publicly testing a video game just to somehow get a just as bad as all other Bethesda open world game at the end? What if we find ourselves living in that world? What if that is 2020? We're Fallout 76 goes offline and becomes single player only, and we realize that Bethesda games are so inherently broken that even if you have teams of thousands of beta testers testing it for 2 years, you still can't make them not fucking train wrecks.
So, yeah, I think this year, let's just go with the apparently safer bet that Fallout 76 is going to find something big and new to be terrible about.
No, they're back next year. I'm willing to call that now. If they are not back next year, I will be surprised.
Yeah.
You just can't put out this type of dumpster fire. It's going to burn itself out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even if they have an amazing year, we're still going to be here talking about the fact that it took them 3 fucking years to get there.
Yep.
All right, what next?
All right, so I got two. I got a lighter one and I got a big one. So
let's do a light one quickly.
Okay, so video game fashion. Now, I'm not talking about the necessarily what things are wearing in game, though it does stretch about to that a bit. But the combination of companies making deals with fashion companies.
I will hear no slander on this podcast said of the Puma gaming sock. It has 3 configurations. God damn it! None of them involve going around your dick.
Yeah,
I'd like to point out the fact that if your socks have 3 configurations, we're really making too much out of something.
Yeah,
my sock has 2 functionalities: on my foot, off my foot.
Well, that's a third one. We're not going to go into it here.
Oh no!
All right, so
this is a puppet, you weirdo.
So one of the ones that happened was a Moschino and The Sims. There was a line of clothing that was somehow based on Sims clothing, which is weird considering that Sims stuff is Sims of what
You know that
normal
iconic
people wear.
Sims fashion that's just kind of like bootleg versions of normal-ass clothing?
Yeah,
or insane outfits?
And if you're not familiar with, I'm probably not even saying about Moschino. That's a high-end brand, like a super high-end brand, expensive brand. And this is a theme, and they're horrible. They are ugly. Look them up if you want to. They are absolutely like, wow, ow, ugh. Yeah. So, and that's also a theme. So, we covered this one just last week. That's the League of Legends plus Louis Vuitton, which, just a mixture of everything I hate about high fashion. Just things that look horribly uncomfortable, things that look like horribly overpriced versions of stuff that's cheap, like my favorite / least favorite thing being the iron-on shirts. You know, that's obviously just looks like like I printed something out and like ironed it on my shirt, and then they're gonna charge over $400 for that. Yeah, as well as shoes that look like they just hurt. They just look bad and hurt, and just look. It just the color. Everything is terrible. Everything about him is terrible.
We're not here to critique fashion exactly, but the idea of why the fuck do we keep doing this?
We got Ninja plus Adidas came out this week.
They're ass-looking shoes.
Oh, they're terrible. Oh, they're absolutely horrible. I mean, what makes anybody think that video games have any sense of fashion that should be copied in any way? It's obviously they're just trying to cash in on the whales that exist in video gaming that will drop $2,000.
Hey, if you really cared about Fortnite, you'd wear Ninja shoes. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
they make you better at Fortnite. We all know that.
We've got Pokemon has been on a lot of fashions. I mean, it's quite a few. I mean, that's too many for me to actually list here. I mean, but it's just, yeah, this year we've been seeing high-end brands teaming up with games and producing, stuff I could see very horrible, tacky gamers wearing. Yeah, sure. Yeah, so y'all go in the bag too. Both parties. I'll say three parties here. The video game companies.
Concept in there, yeah.
Yeah, the video game companies, plus the fashion designers, plus anybody willing to buy that garbage. So yeah. you all go in the bag. And did I miss anything that you guys remember that was some fashion video game team-ups?
I just kind of start droning out whenever we start talking about this. Not because it's boring, because my brain's just like, this shouldn't exist. We're a community that has to yell at people to bathe regularly. Yeah. Please don't put a fucking Louis Vuitton on a Smash Bros. Player.
Yeah.
I don't want to know what that's like. That's... Fuck, this is the same year that brought us like the fucking bathwater joke and Alex's horrific gamer t-shirts.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Still working on my line. Still working on it.
Oh, yeah, that kind of, we can throw that one in the bag along with the influencers ruining everything, so.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Bathwater? Yeah, let's throw that in there.
Yeah.
I got one I want to bring up just to hurt Alex a little bit.
Sure.
Game of Thrones.
I was going to bring that up, but I'm glad you did. I know it's not gaming related, but man, fuck Game of Thrones season 8.
To hear about enough on gaming websites, it's gaming related.
Yeah.
Fuck Game of Thrones season 8.
Yes, please. Throw that in there. Kick it a few times. Yeah.
So bitter about it still.
I'm still bitter about it.
I'm super bitter about it. Oh.
Did you know I watched the Emmys just to watch them lose? I never watch the fucking Emmys because I don't really give a shit about that stuff that much. Yeah. I'll watch like the highlights of like Ricky Gervais talking shit about people there.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't watch that fucking show.
Oh, that is some me level shit. Year? Watching something just to watch someone
this year, I solely watched for the purpose of seeing Game of Thrones lose. And man, did they fucking deliver.
I'm just picturing you in like a dark room, like no lights, just like in your underwear, just like gripping the edges of a chair or something, just murder eyes at the TV. It's like in the background to the intro to this is one song by a band I couldn't pronounce the noun of that just it's this rolling heavy drum beat over and over. It's just like just in the background of Alex's mind while Game of Thrones is like the entire Emmys is just like you can't even hear it. It's just like it's waiting for Game of Thrones. That's fantastic.
Yeah, no, I'm so glad. I cheered when they fucking lost. I don't even know who won. I just know they lost. I would have to Google to find out who won, who got writing awards and stuff like that. I don't even know who won, but I know for a fucking fact they lost, and that means way more to me than anything else right now. Fuck Game of Thrones Season 8. Fuck D&D, not the game, the fucking producers, the showrunners for that show.
Yes.
Yeah. Which, by the way, it makes me so happy they got removed from those future Star Wars projects.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we can only get them removed from a Netflix deal they have, then they would be fucking perfect.
Yep.
Oh, the hatred runs deep.
It runs real fucking deep. And you know what? I just pulled up the Free Folk subreddit, and right now there is a post about Vladimir Furdik, the Night King, was the sword fighting master for the Witcher series. So let that wasted potential sink in.
Mm. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know that one. So, well done at being awful. Get in the bag.
Yep.
Do. Get in the bag now. Get in the bag now.
You're a shit show. You're a shit show. You're a shit show.
I just want to go back in time and like place a bunch of bets at like go to Vegas and be like, I want to put some money down that people will hate Game of Thrones at the end, and they'd be like, okay, that's an oddly specific bet, and I'd be like, I know, I want to put all of my money on it.
Yeah. And I mean, this was one time where it's like I think pretty legitimate why people should be very unhappy with the last season, and
we will agree to disagree on that one, but yes.
I'm glad it finished. We've already mentioned that, but I think it's legitimate criticisms we have here of why this season was just awful. But yeah, and we kind of know some of the reasons why, but it's just. Yeah. We're all all three of us. We are people who watched it all. Watched every single season, every single episode.
I watched season 8 laughing all the way to the bank, though. Like, that's the thing. It was just me being like, oh my god, they're gonna give me my special miracle of everyone hating Game of Thrones. This is the greatest Machiavellian twist ever.
It really is.
They were the villains. The showrunners were the true villains all along.
Mm-hmm. Our expectations were definitely subverted.
Yes.
So, fuck D&D.
You want to talk about Dexit quickly?
Sure.
So this one's on my list to add to shove into the sack, and this is going to be kind of a complicated one, because on one hand, yeah, fuck Game Freak a little bit for cutting down the Pokedex, but at the same time, who the fuck cares? They make the video game, they made a decision, like, I get the outrage around it, but also, fuck everyone who made Dexit into a thing and kept it perpetuated and then still somehow wound up owning a fucking Pokemon game. This is a full year of me being mad at gamers across the board, where it's like, we're gonna protest this, but everyone's playing Pokemon, I guess I'll buy it still, but I'm still mad at it. It's like, fuck you! Don't spend all this time being outraged and then, like, just cave at the moment adversity hits you on this. Like, well, I'm missing out. Guess I should play it and buy it. I'm gonna buy both copies of it so I can have the complete collection. This isn't that bad, actually. Yeah, I spent the last month leading up to its release railing hard against this entire thing as a franchise, but still bad.
Yep.
Like, it's all the fucking gaming circle jerk stuff. Like, Fortnite bad. Why is Fortnite bad? Well, it's bad. Because you don't like it? Yeah, and it's bad. No, people play a lot of it. Like, it's okay, at least at a minimum. No,
Just
it's
because
bad.
you don't like something doesn't mean it's bad, and too many people can't differentiate the two. There's plenty of things that I know are fine and decent that I just don't like. It's like, all right, I don't listen to country music.
Country music is legitimately bad.
But I don't think that there's, like, not good musicians playing it and some good singers in there, but I just don't like it. But that doesn't mean it's, like, automatically bad. It's bad for me, but I mean, it's just because you don't like something doesn't mean it's bad.
Yeah, no, this is very true. I'm not a huge fan of country music either, but I have to say, like, there are some I'm not a huge fan of what's her name? She's the daughter of Achy Breaky Heart.
Miley Cyrus.
Not a huge fan of, like, all her pop stuff, but when she does some country, it's really fucking good. Like, she's actually a talented singer.
Oh yeah, I've heard her sing Jolene, which is that was actually a really good cover of that, and
it was.
But in general, I don't really like country. But it doesn't mean that country is bad. It just I don't like it. That's all that means.
Yeah,
it's a child's perspective that things are bad if you don't like them.
But Epic Store bad.
Yeah. So fuck anyone. I know we had an ongoing joke, and Alex, you may feel personally attacked right now, and I'm not going to apologize for that, because if you actually feel personally attacked, fuck you on this one. Anyone who bought into this whole Epic Store bad thing, go throw yourself off a goddamn cliff.
You know what?
Into the sack.
I'm into the sack.
Yep.
Epic Store bad.
I understand.
Yep. And while, even I was like, to a certain extent, like, exclusives, but ultimately I was like, I also don't care. Like, when it came down to, any sort of exclusivity, it's like, well, whatever, I'll just have Epic. I already have the Epic Store. I already have the Epic app on my computer, so it's like...
They spent all year giving out fantastic games.
For free. Oh, I have a wonderful collection of free games on my Epic Store account, or my Epic account in general. So it's like, yeah.
And the number of people that, like, made a show of being like, I bought this game they're giving away on Epic for free on Steam, because fuck Epic. It's like,
okay.
What the hell is wrong with you?
It's like, okay, sure. Why?
Enjoy your bribery, good shits that they're cashing in on you now that they can use later. That's all it is. Bribery. Enjoy your quote-unquote free games. Epic Store bad. And with that, I'll get in the sack
beat
now.
Alex with the sack now.
I'm going to go ahead and climb in the sack now.
Yep.
I don't foresee gamers getting fixed anytime soon, no matter how much we beat them with sticks, but Bear's calling out every year.
Yep. Gamers bad.
I got a couple more if we want to burn through a couple ones quickly again.
Sure.
Let's burn through them, sure.
Google Stadia. Both because Stadia kind of sucks, but also for every fucking person like me that circle jerked on that hate train before it even came out. Like, is it good? No. Was I way too excited about it failing? Yeah.
Yeah.
And fuck me a little bit for that. Like, at least I'm self-aware enough to be like, oh, fuck you, Charlie. You're just as bad as a bunch of other people out there. Like, don't get me wrong, it deserves everything bad I've said about it since it came out, but also, we shouldn't have been that like, oh my god, it's gonna fail. I'm gonna slow stroke it till I finally come all over how fucking much it sucks. And we were like that for months. Absolutely. I'm like, I want this thing to die so hard. I want people to buy it, myself included, and then be angry about how they bought it. Yeah. That's not healthy at all. That's all I got on that one. That's definitely sack-worthy.
All right. Do we want to break open another big one?
Which one?
About China.
Oh, sure.
Oh yeah.
All right. So this is we're gonna have to open the mouth of the sack a bit wider because this is all of the companies that bowed to the Communist Party of China like little bitches. So
obviously Blitzchung was a part of that whole controversy with
so Blizzard definitely got well known for that.
And we've talked about Blizzard, so we don't need to go back into that one.
Yeah, we don't need to repeat that, but essentially what they did, and the fact that they still have not owned up to it, and they still deny it. Even right now, and the last things that they've said, still completely deny. Even in recent interviews and stuff, they still deny that they completely bowed down and kissed the feet of the Communist Party of China, who have continue to crack down and have done some pretty awful stuff, just in Hong Kong. And so, yeah, there's multiple companies out. There's a nice listing of companies that have sort of bent over and bowed down and kissed the feet of the Communist Party of China, who are engaging in horrible human rights abuses, both in Hong Kong and in Tibet, and in the Uyghurs, the minority that are ethnic minority that are largely Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot of companies. The NBA got kind of known for that, and people weighed in stupidly, like LeBron James, who apparently didn't do his homework on the human rights abuses that China's engaging in right now. So that was dumb.
And you may be asking, why is this in a gaming podcast for outrage? Because it was a fucking shit ton of gaming companies. Like, hell, Steam delisted that Taiwanese horror game.
Yep. Still
unlisted.
Yep, still enlisted, and the company, they went all out and decided to, there again, kiss the feet of the Communist Party of China. So, it's like, come on. I mean, it'd be one thing if it was just Chinese companies doing that. I mean, it's like, yeah, it's in China.
We've come to expect it.
But this is specifically mostly like American companies that are doing this. But not only American companies. I'll add another one that gets to go into the bag, and this is news from this week, earlier, last week actually, a Arsenal player, one of their best players, is it Ozil? I always screw up his pronunciation of his name. Turkish player, or Turkish, and Muslim. And he decided to speak out about the abuse of the Uyghur minority in China. The supposedly re-education camps, the concentration camps that they have, as well as the organ harvesting that has been happening to the Uyghurs. And he decided to speak out against it. So in retaliation, the Chinese government removed that. It stopped broadcasting that game, the Arsenal games. And now it bleeds over into video games because now Pro Evolution Soccer in China no longer has that player as a part of Arsenal. He's been removed from the game.
Damn.
So yeah. So that's Konami. Konami makes Konami's been kind of bleh anyway, so Konami gets to go into the sack for this reason now because they removed him from the game. So it's like, wow. Really? And
go ahead, sorry.
And I'm like, and it was because he was speaking out about literally, this wasn't rumors he's talking about. He's talking about things that are literally happening. And and the Pro Evo decided to censor him. And that's, there again, you go into the sack too, Konami, for this reason. There's other reasons you could probably go in the sack, but you definitely, I'm going to kick you in the face and push you down to that sack for this one. So, what are you about to say, Alex?
I was going to say, can I also just remind people that China is fucking over these companies that are bending over backwards anyway, because they recently passed rules about time limits for gaming for children and how much they can spend on those games in, purchases. So they're not even able to really take advantage of that market because that market's already getting fucking handicapped to begin with.
Yep.
What are you bending over backwards for?
Yeah, I mean, the other, fact is, there's still a tiny amount of even Blizzard sales only one fraction of even. All right, so all Asia is like 11% of their sales, and China's a small fraction of that because South Korea, as tiny as that country is, they get more income from South Korea than they do from China. So I mean, they're not even doing it for a lot of money. They are bending over backwards, and the Communist Party of China is known for being capricious, like extremely capricious. They will remove you for, like I said, for any reason. Like they literally just stopped broadcasting Arsenal games. They're just like, nope, goodbye. It's like that's how you're groveling at the feet of a authoritarian regime who there is no guarantee that even with you groveling that hard that they will care about you or cater to you at all, because they don't really care about you. They're building their own versions of the stuff that you think you're going to be selling there. Haha, they're just copying your stuff. That's the thing. And this is all right. So little known fact. So companies like Tencent, some of these companies that are like kind of people are partnering with so that they can do business in China, are staffed, like among their kind of main executives and board of advisors and stuff are people from the Communist Party of China, politicians. So there's a real big bleeding of the politics over into these companies, because these people are at the heads of these companies, and that's why that Tencent and NetEase will immediately echo anything that the Communist Party of China has said, because they literally have people running these companies. So yeah, that's not well known, but it is a fact, and that's how, kind of like I said, that's why some of these things are happening the way they're happening, because they aren't just getting, like, these companies aren't getting pressured so much by the government. They're run by people from the government. So that's why it's like NetEase was so quick to put out an official statement on their Weibo account. That was written by a politician that's a part of Weibo, or not Weibo, part of NetEase. So, I mean, there's a whole list of companies that have been, completely bowing to pressure. I mean, that have said that they will in fact, they will censor any statements about China. I'm going to actually, if you go to Gamers for Freedom, or if you just look it up, but it's like gamersforfreedom.com, there's a nice listing there of and I'll mention a few of them, as well as like some of the things that have happened. But yeah, there's a listing there of some of the companies that have already said they will censor. It'd be actually a much smaller list to say the ones that won't censor. All right, so. Yeah. All right, Epic bad, but Epic also said that even though they're largely owned by Tencent, the controlling share, Tim Sweeney, still has a controlling share, and he said, "Yeah, we won't censor people. We'll see. We can see how that rolls out, but because he has controlling shares, he can say that and he can enforce it." So, Immutable, who run Gods Unchained, which I've mentioned several times before. They've said they won't censor. Bohemia Interactive said they won't censor. Wizards of the Coast have already been tested on that one. Like they had a recent grand champion winner who made both a visual and an actual a vocal statement in support of the Hong Kong protests, and they're just like, okay. They didn't do anything. Yeah. So I mean, but yeah, like there's been a whole lot of game companies that have continually bowed down to pressure from the Communist Party of China, which, as you mentioned, might all be seriously for nothing, because, as I said, they will just revoke your ability to do business there on a whim because they can. They don't care. They're making plenty of money as it is. They'll just immediately like, all right, you won't do business here anymore. And that's it. Too bad. All the groveling you did was for nothing. But yeah, I don't know, so many companies did this, and it's just really frustrating because, I mean, all these people are doing is speaking about actual horrible human rights abuses. It just And also, all right, so along with them, all the gamers who, I'm not talking about the gamers who are just kind of quiet or kind of wanting to sit this one out. I'm talking about the ones who are vocally supporting Blizzard and other companies and vocally saying
at the same time, the groups out there saying, like, keep politics out of video games, man.
Yeah. All right. So that's a whole topic in itself. Let's tackle that one immediately next because that is super related. But yeah, all the people that are like, oh no, they have the right to censor about this thing, even though we're already showing ourselves to be hypocrites. As as Allard wears a pride pin while making this speech about no politics in games. So yeah, but the people who endlessly stand for these companies, why do you hate democracy? Why do you hate human rights? That's all I have to say. And it's not like I'm asking you to make a stand and stop eating or breathing. I'm asking you to make a stand and maybe, at minimally, say that, hey, I condemn the actions of this company. I condemn the actions of Blizzard. You can't even bring yourselves to say that and stand up for human rights. That's a low bar, and you guys managed to trip over that one. So, y'all go in the bag too. But, yeah, that's... Like I said, there's a lot of companies, and I don't even want to go through the laundry list of companies. Let's just say it was way shorter to bring up the ones that said that they wouldn't censor or have already been proven. Another in the list is what's his name? The former Blizzard employee who has the name Chris Kern? Matt, I don't remember his name now. He's a former Blizzard employee who's kind of come out and said that his new company also won't censor. He was a gamer-gator too, so it's like, yeah, I don't like him, but at least he also said I will also not censor for that. But in any case, yeah. So, but yeah, let's roll this on to gamers who are like, no, I don't want politics in my games. So, Charlie, you want to take off on that one a little bit?
A growing kind of thing this year has been gamers that are like obviously playing a highly political game kind of thing. Like I always go back to the fact that Division 2 takes place in fucking Washington D.C.
Yeah,
if you are by simply doing that, you are saying something political.
Yes,
whether you intend to or not, that decision is by its very nature political.
Call of Duty,
and all of Call of Duty is inherently kind of political, just given what it's technically about. It's
especially some of the newer ones.
Yeah, the most recent one especially. But you've had a bunch of companies out there saying our games are apolitical or whatever and trying to remain neutral, and I understand that. They're trying to sell stuff. It's fucking spineless. I don't agree with it, but I get it.
Like Bobby Kotick recently came out and said that. Because of course he did.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I'm saying I get it, I don't respect it kind of thing. Like, I understand where they're coming from. Don't agree with it, blah, blah, blah. There is a growing group of the gaming community, of the game consuming community that just wants to be able to sit down and play video games. Again, I get that. I really do. I am probably...
I'm going to say that's
technically part of it.
That's half true, maybe. But
yeah.
But go ahead and explain, and I'll kind of say why I think that's not entirely honest.
But there's a growing group of people that don't want games to change. Essentially, I'm not talking like get better. I'm saying they don't want female protagonists. They don't want kind of non-white characters. They basically kind of want a status quo, and they want to feel as though they are the only group representing these video games.
Yeah, and that's what I was kind of getting to. It's not entirely honest, I think, that they want it without politics. They want it with their politics, is really what they're saying.
And they are quick to label anything that's different as politics. Like, it's not politics if it's what they want, but then if it's something like as innocuous as a female protagonist or a black protagonist, or God forbid a black female protagonist, it's up in arms, like, oh, they're forcing gender and cultural diversity on us, and
they're like, oh, it's pandering, or oh, it's they just have all these dumb things to say, and it, like I said, it's the idea of that, we just want to play our games, that's dishonest. No. You just want your politics in games, and you don't like it to see politics you don't agree with in games. That's really what you're whining about. You're whining about the fact that the world isn't you, that the entirety of the world isn't you and your beliefs and who you are. And that's really what they're complaining about.
And it's a misuse of the phrase, I don't want politics in games. Like, it's intentionally misleading, and I'm just I'm not even sick, I'm just bored with it. It's one of those ones where it's kind of the overly active vocal minority that's like, and I'm like, these are fine. I don't care. Control was a cool game. The fact you had to play with this badass woman, that was cool. She seems cool. That's all I care about video game protagonists.
I mean, I just like the way she's written and the way she is reacting to a really weird situation.
Far better than I was in that situation.
How she got brought into the building and why she's there in the first place is even interesting, but I don't want to give anything away because it's so worth playing. But yeah, it's I mean, politics and to act like that's art can express, and video games can be art, and art expresses thoughts, opinions, ideas, and ideas can be political. But like you said, it's they're being dishonest about no politics in video games. They just don't want other politics, not their politics, being in video games.
Part of me almost wonders if how much of this crowd fucking thought Dream Daddy or whatever the fuck that game was called was the fucking funniest thing 2 or 3 years ago now. And it's now like, no, gay characters. What about Dream Daddy? That was funny and appropriate.
No, I will say this. That's not much of a crossover group, I'll say. I'll say probably not as much of a crossover group as you might think.
I would like to agree, except for that game's rapid growth on Twitch.
Yeah, but
like a lot of that game was played semi-ironically.
It's pretty hot and heavy. It's not as hot and heavy as other games I played that are queer topic.
Sure.
Like Lady Killer in a Bind, which is
way
more graphic.
Well, and I'm not saying that game was intended to be that way, but I'm kind of I've always been curious, like how much of the community that's complaining about all this stuff is willing to get on board, and they feel they're in on the joke, like, oh, we're making fun of this, right? It's like, no, this is just a weird game. The sake of making a weird game kind of thing. Not weird, but like it's a different game. Like we made a fun game for the sake of making a fun game kind of thing.
Yeah.
That if you're dumb, you could take to be like, oh, haha, they're bashing this. Tee hee hee, we're in on the joke.
Yeah.
Secret hand signals.
Yeah, I can kind of see that. Whereas something like Lady Killer in a Bind, which is, very much a, LGBTQ and also very, other sexually themed. I mean, there's S&M is explored in that game as well as other types of many types of relationships, sexual relationships. It's I kind of see what you're saying. I see your point on that. But yeah, it is. Yeah, I wonder how much of a crossover there is, and there might be.
Even me and Alex's play of that game was semi disingenuous. We were super excited. We got to score on our first outing in that game, which we were honest and we're fucking winning at this. But it also was kind of like, maybe we shouldn't be laughing along this hard with it too.
Well, I mean, but it's made as
an inherently funny game, yeah.
It's made to be comedic. I mean, the situations that they get in, the way they converse with each other, it's made to be lighthearted. And so you are supposed to laugh with the game, but it is laughing with rather than laughing at.
Yeah.
You're not laughing at them, for you the punchline isn't that they're gay. For you the punchline is that they're dads.
Yeah, for me, the punchline was the fact that one of my coworkers who was gay got mad at me for managing to seduce a character in that game. He's like, "How did you do this?" I'm like, "I'm just better at this than you are, apparently."
But there again, like I said, it's the difference between laughing with and laughing at in that sense. But
yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah, and it is a comedic game, and it is meant to be laughed with. But the whole politics and games are political.
Yep.
That's Well,
no, they're not.
Welcome
Stop saying that.
Yeah.
Why are you all such social justice warriors on this podcast?
But on the other side, quick props to the Ubisoft VP talking about, hey, video games are political, as a matter of fact, and we should probably we're probably go further and be more sophisticated about the way we talk about politics in games, even. So, which isn't super surprising coming from Ubisoft, knowing their main series of games. Some of their main series of games are super political. Like Watch Dogs, to name one. And, of course, Assassin's Creed, which they're more well known for than Watch Dogs, of course. There are a lot more games in that series. But yeah, that at least, that, in that case, it's like, hey, yeah, video games are, in fact, can be political. Especially if it's literally a video game about politics. But, yep. But yeah, get in the game, you disingenuous gamers. Or get in the bag. Get in the bag, disingenuous gamers. My foot is on your face, pushing you into the bag.
What next? I feel like we're losing steam a little bit slowly.
Yeah, I mean, we've covered some of our bigger ones here.
Yeah. Like, we can poke fun at the whole Joy-Con drift thing being some bullshit, but, like, now that I'm seeing it on this list of bigger things that happened this year, like, I had Anthem on this list because I wanted to make fun of Anthem quickly.
Yeah.
But also, like, compared to the rest of this stuff, Anthem was just a bad game. Like,
yeah,
we'll talk about that in our Game of the Year. Like, it didn't do anything wrong except not being good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, other things...
Riot Games, maybe?
What's that?
Riot Games, maybe?
Oh, yeah. All right, let's... They deserve a discussion all their own. So let's hop into that one.
So if you've, I'm not sure where to start with this one because Riot Games is like if it was just any one of these things we'd be talking about it during this podcast. But it's the walkout, the rampant the completely believable rampant allegations of just sexually inappropriate, exploitive, and misconduct rampant throughout the company. Juvenile behavior, just like shitty behavior across the board, not just from general employees, but from, what was it, the CFO or something?
Oh yeah, the executive level buffoonery.
Yeah.
And just, yeah, it's...
And it's problematic enough that it culminates in a $10 million joint settlement payout.
Yeah.
Like, I'm no lawyer, and I'm not going to pretend to be a country lawyer, but, like, at least in my current ongoing experience, when you have a joint settlement, that typically means the company realizes, oh shit, we were going to lose.
Oh yeah, that means they knew they were going to
go
super
away.
lose. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just, and just the whole, revealing of a very poisonous culture, just a venomous culture that is just awful and just toxic, super toxic. They have a call out culture there, where basically they're rewarding aggressive, antagonistic behavior. Even I'd say antagonistic behavior, and that is so toxic and unhealthy. Yeah, it just everything that came out. Big kudos to like the good journalism that had been done on revealing all of this. That they did extensive interviews and research. Like Kotaku did a great expose on it. When Kotaku decides to journalism, they journalism. They certainly journalism, and that was one of their great articles that they did this year. And yeah, like you said, it is a all around top down awful culture that they've been taking part in there, and it's disgusting in multiple ways. But yeah, and they was obviously verified as, yep, this was happening.
Yeah.
And I think, and really, and the thing is, and people are like, oh, well, they settled. Maybe they didn't think they had a strong case. No, they probably settled because they didn't want to go through court. I mean, it'd reveal, so it can be very...
oh yeah, no,
it can be very
I can only
hard
imagine...
to talk about these things, especially this, the sexual misconduct. It's tough to have to go on the stand and then have to talk about these things. It's like you have to relive them. That's objectively terrifying to have to do, and just and you know what? If they can avoid having to go through all that, but basically get an admittance of, yeah, this happened, a lot of people are going to go for that. They don't necessarily want to get on a stand and talk about the awful abuse that they suffered because.
Oh no, and I don't begrudge people to take the payout at that point.
No.
Like I was thinking you're saying, like, it's if we've learned nothing this year living in the U.S., like going through that process is a fucking nightmare.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't begrudge them at all for taking that because it is because it's like having to go up and actually give be and then having to face the defense attorneys interviewing you and trying to grill you to see if they can catch you in something. That's also that I can't imagine feeling that as well. I mean, that'd be even harder to deal with when you start to get some people trying to these lawyers that are going to try to find reasons to try to attack your testimony. So yeah, Riot. I'm. It sounds like it's just an awful place to work at. Just it has been an absolute nightmare. And you know what? I just have to say that that's the same. Maybe that's why the community around it seems to be so toxic. I mean, maybe that's what kind of bled out. But yeah, Riot Games, get in the bag.
So I got one more, and it's kind of another weird one that's going to sound initially like I'm just knocking one game, but it's part of a broader topic. We want to call this one our last one?
Sure.
Let's talk about Shenmue 3.
Oh, yeah.
So, Shenmue 3 is on this list, not because it's a bad game or I have any personal vendetta against Shenmue. It is what it is kind of thing. The fact it exists is mind-boggling and weird. There's nothing more I can say about Shenmue that has not been said before, has not been said by others kind of thing. Like, this simply put, that game shouldn't exist.
Yeah.
The fact it does is why I want to talk about it today as part of our Krampuscast, because that is some unfortunately weaponized nostalgia, and this has been a year of weaponized nostalgia, and it's making things shittier in gaming.
Yeah.
Like, it spilled over into the Dexit stuff. Like, that's, like, in so many ways, that's part of it, where it's like, rather than kind of embracing the new, it's I want my old stuff back, too.
Yep. And this has been been a year of seeing lots of, if not releases, announcements of, we're doing a complete and utter nostalgia grab. Like the Streets of Rage 4, the River City Girls. I mean, there's been
Medieval came out.
Yeah, I mean it's been a year
of
riding
for Medieval.
Yet another year, I should say, of riding that nostalgia train.
Yeah. And I think it's Shenmue's this kind of weird face to slap on it, where it shouldn't fucking exist.
Yeah.
It just shouldn't, like, I'm super happy all of you got to experience Shenmue 3, got to experience Shenmue 3, but that game should not exist by any measure of logic. It should have stayed dead and buried in the past where it belonged.
At least it actually got made. At least they put out a product and it's like got released. That's the only thing I can say about it. That's not just negative, but yep. Should we not talk about anything about surprise mechanics?
We can. I thought we kind of covered it, but like the whole lawsuit around loot boxes, like loot boxes, whatever kind of thing. We can talk about those till we're blue in the face. It was the phrase surprise mechanics. The fact that a variety of companies chose to dig in the way they did, was like, rather than kind of being like, okay, yeah, you caught us, like these were kind of thing. It was the aggressive, no, these are fine. These are what people want. They're Kinder eggs. They're surprise mechanics.
Yeah.
Did you know people would rather buy something and not know what it is? And then as a result, to all the kind of bullshit workarounds, like Steam's X-ray system for CSGO.
Yep.
It's the one that always comes to mind because it's such bullshit.
Yep. So yeah, and it's not just like you said, it's not about the fact that I mean we've been talking about loot boxes as well. It's the fact that they really like went hard on. Oh no, it's perfectly fine. Surprise mechanics. Surprise.
Yeah.
Don't you like surprises?
I am glad that failed miserably. That actually made it worse. Because of that, the UK was like, yeah, no. Like, super no. Like, I think that their use of this overly total nonsense obvious PR term, that actually hurt them. And it sounds like from the way the UK ruled on it, it actually really hurt them. So, haha, get in the bag.
Indeed.
So, I mean, I don't think I have anything else I'd like to put in the bag.
Yeah. No, I got nothing else either.
Alex?
I think we've pretty much cleared the gauntlet here.
We have a pretty full bag, but there's a lot of bad stuff this year, so...
It's a very wriggly bag, too. Like,
yeah.
No amounts of beatings are making it settle down this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for you fucking companies out there that think you can get away with your bullshit, just remember, we've got room in a sack for next year.
We do this every year.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, we have plenty for you. Plenty of room.
And we'll take better notes the next year, because this year was kind of hard to round up. I'm like, shit, when did this happen?
Yeah. Yeah, I should probably keep a running list of awful things that I think will be on the Krampus.
I just feel like that list would become mentally
hazardous,
hazardous, though, too.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
We also do have the shit show ranked list. Is that when are we updating that?
That's different.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's slightly different. Yeah, so from the Krampus list, or the Krampus bag, as it were.
Indeed. Yeah, no. Strange times that are upon us.
Yep.
Living in that cyberpunk future.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, we are once again running a bit on the long... we're going to be very long this week, probably, from a editing down standpoint. Do we want to do... We got 2 emails we can go through quick if we want, or we can save them for...
Yeah, especially if
next
they're
week is Game of the Year. Yeah.
Especially if they're kind of timely, and we should probably sponsor them. I don't know.
All right, yeah. If you want to send us an email, send it to us at wickedawesomecast@gmail.com. Again, that's wickedawesomecast@gmail.com. Here's our first email. I believe they both come in from Anonymous this week, but I will double check on that. I'm so upset I'm not even going to properly greet you, defective threesome. Last week you covered the Game Awards and criminally either chose or missed the fact that a Green Day song pack is coming to Beat Saber. Based on the prolific Blink-182 knowledge Alex demonstrated last week, I can only assume that he feels jilted by this omission and I must rectify this. I mean, who wouldn't want to flail about the Boulevard of Broken Dreams? You got us on this one. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Green Day. Thank you for that one.
that news makes me hate Beat Saber a little bit.
You know what? I am so sorry to the fans that I missed that. It's so dumb of me. I'm sorry. I'm just an American idiot.
They even played the Game Awards. I forgot about that.
Yeah, they did.
I fast forwarded through that part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm just a basket case. I'm sorry.
Shut up.
Hey. You know when I come around, this thing happens.
Go walk alone somewhere. Off a Boulevard of Broken Dreams to my preference. But next email, this also comes in from Anonymous. I suspect mostly Charlie, but also Alex and Henry. I suspect there will be a lot of talk this week about the new season of Destiny 2 from at least one of you, which means this is the perfect time to ask questions about Destiny controversies. In an attempt to refresh myself on Saint 14 lore, I have found myself deep diving into Destiny lore, and because of this, I found myself watching way too many videos about the Truth to Power controversy. I suspect I can elaborate on this event, but to summarize, in Destiny lore, something was promised if someone reached light level 999, and when someone did, nothing happened. Any thoughts about this? Truth to Power is a book of lies? Like, canonically, it's a book of lies? Alright, so Truth to Power is one of the Grimoire card things, and it is written by one of the big bad, or it's a book of prophecies that I'm not sure if it's officially written by, or strongly alluded to, or the community's 99% sure was written by one of the big bads of the kind of Destiny universe. So the fact it turned out to be full of fucking lies surprises no one, I don't think. Like, yeah, like it's one of those ones where I think most people's reactions to this was, doy, it was in Truth to Power.
Yeah.
Or Truth Through Power, or something like that. Like, it would be like buying a history book that was like, that on the cover says, "This is fake history," and then being like, "But why would they lie to us in this history book?"
Sweet summer child.
Yeah, in this person's defense, that thing got a lot of traction. A lot of YouTubers made outrage videos about how Truth Through Power, whatever it's called, lied to us. It was like, it was always lying to us. Like, it's fucking written by Savathun, the Queen of Lies. I'd be more surprised if it was true. I'd be like, wait, what? I'm trying to think about another time this happened. Like, has there ever been a time a video game said, no, this isn't a thing, and it turned out to not be a thing, and then people were like, oh, we were so sure this was going to be a thing, we were pissed off about it? But this happens every once in a while. I don't know. Like the fucking Mew and pushing the garbage truck in Pokemon. That feels like that kind of thing. You just go push the garbage truck, man, then you get a Mew. That's how it works, right? Despite the fact that every fucking guide for that game is like, no, this doesn't work, and people are like, no, it works, trust me on this one. I'm your friend's older brother. I'm also Savathun, the Queen of Lies. Yeah, that's free emails this week.
All right. Thank you both. Thank you, Anonymous and Anonymous.
WickedAwesomecast@gmail.com. Send them in. That does it for this especially festive episode of the Wicked Awesome Cast. Any last thoughts before we get the hell out of here?
Other than, I'm hoping to start streaming after I move into the new house.
Cool.
And all that. Now that I'll have an actual stream room, so you can find me on Mave Online. Across the board and all my social medias, I post things here and there. Yeah. So, I don't think I have anything else.
I'll just mention, on social media, I am Kraken0, that is ZER0, and that's on Facebook and Instagram, and I am Nomad Har on Twitch, but I won't be streaming this week. Can't really stream here. Definitely the upload isn't good enough here, but but I expect to possibly see, I might take some pictures of farms and cattle.
Do it.
But but that's all I have.
I'm going to go to sleep after this podcast, so you guys can wake me up when September ends.
I'd like to officially announce Alex will not be coming back next week's episode because he's never waking up ever again. I'm going to release all of the pets in his house at him.
So what you're saying is good riddance?
Unfortunately, yes.
Time of our lives?
No.
Good riddance?
This podcast is a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Give the medal.